The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack this like no Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It is Monday, January 29th, 2024. It is your boy Scott. You know to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarbChair. Scott, follow the Barbers Chat Network at BarbersChatNet on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, follow H&B Media on Twitter at H&B Media TV. We are back. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network, where you get all the exclusive clips before they hit YouTube. And of course, you get our bonus hour, which is I'm Not Gonna Hold You Overtime, which is pretty much the Chicago sports local hour. So if you are a big Chicago sports fan, we get into all the nitty gritty on there after each and every show on Monday and Fridays. And of course, we got I'm Not Gonna Hold You Halftime, which is the midweek show where it's just me and an occasional guest while I go on all the topics in the midweek going on in the sports world. So once again, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network. Subscribe to the $5 holla if you want the I'm Not Gonna Hold You tier. If you want everything we offer at the Barbers Chat Network Patreon, subscribe to the $10 Barbers Chair All Access, man. We have got a packed show for y'all today. We've got the homie Pavy will be joining us later on in the show for the first edition of Weekend in the Association. Pavy will be our NBA correspondent for the remainder of the season. He will be joining us each and every Monday, as he'll be going over all the big news from this past weekend in NBA and things look into for this upcoming week, man. So definitely tune into that. Let's get to bring my co-host in. We have got president of the Barbers Chat Network, co-producer of this great show, and also one of the illustrious Morehouse men, Dante. You can follow him on Twitter at OctoberZonte. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. JR Bang. You can follow him at JR Bang on all social media platforms. And we've got Courtney here. Courtney, you can follow her at 1800 Caller Bro, man. She is taking all of your Cowboy slander, all your Josh Allen slander. She will be handing it out amongst anything. And she will also be one of our baseball correspondents as we get ready to head into the MLB season, man. Mikey will be joining us. Mikey is off IR. He will be joining us later in the show, more in the second hour. So he will be joining us all this week. And of course, he will be in the local hour. But what's going on, guys?
I'm great, bro. Woke up feeling like 1989. Shout out to all my Swifties out there. Headed to the Super Bowl.
Glad to have you among us, brother.
Yeah, I was about to say, recommend some songs or something. I feel like I just gotta embrace it. It's here now.
I got playlists for you. I got you.
We here.
We gonna get into Taylor later in the show too, because I got some thoughts. I got a lot of thoughts today. This is gonna be a good show. I woke up in a great mood today. Bang, how's it doing?
Hey, my kid's fighting.
What do you do when your kids fight? How long do you let it rock?
Let them fight. You see what I'm doing right now? I'm recording.
Hey, relax, bro. Relax. Get your man.
I'll be up in there in a minute. When you do your sound off.
Thank you. I appreciate the love.
Nigga ain't slick.
Yeah, Orlando, you are not slick. You can't
Right, relax.
Yeah,
relax,
you can
sir.
fool them.
Yeah,
You can fool the ones who aren't paying attention.
I have some wonderful insight. Okay, what if I am just a really fantastic person?
Well, Mike F say that nigga don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
So I am taking a break from my job. Just hit this promo Scott's about to put on. Oh, don't you worry, my brother. That is coming on this episode later on. I have a little bit to say about one Lamar Jackson. That I have been
glad. I'm just glad you're doing this before Black History Month. Just go ahead and get it out of the way.
Hey, look, we got a black quarterback headlining the fucking Super Bowl for the 6th year in a row.
And we should talk about that too. But
we need to talk about that. Shout out to Big Von.
As long as you keep your head to the sky.
Shout out to Big Von, Patrick Mahomes Sr., who said, you know what I'm saying, we smoking on that Lamar Jackson. Special grade. That nigga talk like every country uncle ever. So we definitely finna get into that, man. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Nigga said Scott Polian. Y'all blame Dante for all y'all sending me Bill Polian gifts after last night.
I mean, the truth hurts, brother.
It's not. No, the truth hurts is what y'all niggas gonna hear today. It's a championship Courtney. And the truth is what hurts, what y'all niggas gonna hear today, man. So yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of topics going to really packed show. So let's get into my sound off. How do I start this, man? So this one is not going this. Before I actually get to Lamar Jackson, because we'll get to that later in the show. I don't want to put a time cap on that. I love being right. When you have a platform like we have here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You, and we have people who look forward to what I say, I appreciate everybody who looks forward to even caring about my dumbass opinions. But as I always say, and shout out my guy Big Waz of the Ringer, we always say this: life is about being right, and I love being fucking right. I said all season that we cannot count out Patrick Mahomes. He has no peers. You know, when you're bringing up all these other names, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, those guys are not his equal. We are in the middle of the Kansas City Chiefs era. Do I think it's a dynasty? They are one win away from being. And that was the topic that we had on the very first episode of this new and improved I'm Not Gonna Hold You way back at the end of August, where everybody's wondering, is this a dynasty? And we said they had to get one more. They are one win away from officially becoming that dynasty. 6 straight AFC Championship appearances. This is the 4th Super Bowl for this team. Patrick Mahomes. Let's just look at Patrick Mahomes' resume. Last night, Patrick Mahomes tied Peyton Manning for the most playoff wins with 14. Him and Peyton Manning both have 14. He is currently the first quarterback in NFL history to ever start 4 Super Bowls before the age of 30. He is only the 3rd QB in the history of the NFL to start 4 Super Bowls in a 5-season span, joining the one and only GOAT Tom Brady, and of course joining Buffalo Bills Jim Kelly, which he unfortunately did not get any of those Super Bowls, but we're not here to shit on them. We just wanted to make that observation. And he is 14 wins behind Tom Brady. As far as playoff wins, Tom Brady has 35, and he is only 2 behind Joe Montana. Joe Montana is number 2 with 16. And we can even look at Travis Kelce, man. Travis Kelce is an all-time tight end. He's in that greatest of all-time tight end conversation already. Last night, he tied Jerry Rice in playoff receptions. And when you look at guys who catch the football, Jerry Rice is the standard bearer for what you look at when you're looking at guys like that. And he already tied him. He's only 6 touchdowns behind Jerry Rice as far as passing him for the most playoff touchdowns. Now, whether he passed that or not, we don't even know if Kelsey's going to play more towards, going forward. And then just look at this. We're going to talk about, GOATs and things like that later on this show. Tom Brady is the GOAT, but I just want to give y'all some stats. Through the age of 28, regular season wins, Patrick Mahomes has 74, Tom Brady has 58. Now, I'm very, very well known that wins are not a QB stat, but stay with me. Playoff wins through 28, Mahomes has 14, Brady had 10. Super Bowl appearances, Mahomes is on his 4th, Brady had 5. Super Bowl wins, Brady had 3 at the time. Pat has 2, could have 3 in a couple weeks. In the Super Bowl MVPs, they're tied at 2 so far. NFL MVPs, this is the difference right here. NFL MVPs is where Pat has them as 2 compared to Brady's 0, man. And this is something where if there's anybody who can give Brady a run for his legacy. I guess you want to say it is Patrick Mahomes, because he's doing stuff early in his career that Tom Brady didn't really do till later on. Like, I don't want to call Tom Brady a manager in his first 3 championships because he was a big part of it, but he was definitely learning on the job. He wasn't as electric and wasn't winning games because of he just slid in a great situation, and later on became who we said he would become later on. So that's something right there that we need to look at. And then also, man, what I said that I love being right is because I told y'all this is going to happen. I know people are tired of greatness. I know some people are like, oh, the Patriots always win. Why are we always doing this? You got to appreciate it while you're watching it, man. This is the type of shit I like. I will always root for the villain. And when people kept saying the thing of, oh, Patrick Mahomes can't win on the road. They've never been on the road. One, it was stupid. Just like Dante said, you act like they don't play in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, which is one of the coldest places during the winter. That was just another notch on his belt to, this is something that can get me motivated and beat y'all. And he went on there, went home, beat, a top team in the Miami Dolphins, knocked out Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, then knocked out the Baltimore Ravens. And the Baltimore Ravens, great year. And I didn't understand all the stuff I was seeing in the media this week. I love Mina Kimes. I love Mina Kimes. She's one of the best NFL analysts out there. I actually would love to have her on the show one day. When she said that the Chiefs have to play an all-time game to win this, I didn't understand that. I was like, no, they don't. The Ravens would have to play an all-time game to beat them, because when it comes to mano-a-mano, it comes to who's the better quarterback. And everybody who wants to put Lamar Jackson in these conversations, y'all need to shut up, at least for the time being. Now, I'm not saying that Lamar can't get in these conversations, because he still is, 25, 26 years old like that. He still has time. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can do that. But at this very moment, he's not that guy who can come up toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. The Ravens defense did their job. They held Mahomes, Kelsey, that offense to 0 points in the second half, did not score at all. And there comes a time where you got to step up and say, oh, I'm the MVP. I'm finna be 2-time MVP. We're home. It's a chance to go to Super Bowl, and I'm going to do it. And Lamar Jackson didn't come up to the plate and do it, man. And we got to stop making excuses. And this has nothing to do. People out there think that I hate Lamar Jackson. I don't hate Lamar Jackson. Why when you always have a criticism about somebody, you automatically hate? We got to have equal opportunity here, man. If we can go up here and shit on Josh Allen last week, which everybody did, and rightfully so, because he didn't come up and do enough. We said last week, was he the reason that they lost? No, Josh Allen wasn't the reason that they lost. But he didn't make enough plays. And Lamar Jackson didn't make enough plays. He, was throwing ducks, throwing too high, throwing too low, putting his guys in bad situations. We can go up here and blame Zay Flowers for that Superman fly, from the 5-yard line he did. But if Lamar would have thrown a better ball, that would have been an easy touchdown. So there's different things that we got to stop giving people passes just because we like them. You know what I'm saying? Just because you like Lamar Jackson and saying shit, oh, the NFL's rigged. The NFL wants Taylor Swift. If you think the NFL needs promo from Taylor Swift, you have not been paying attention. Does the promo help? Of course it does. She's Taylor fucking Swift. And we'll get into that later in the fucking show too. But this is something where he didn't cut the mustard. He didn't step up to the plate. And if you're going to go up here and say what people been saying for weeks, he's in the same tier as Patrick Mahomes, then he should have went head-to-head and beat that nigga at home. Because I'm going to let you know right now, that was his best chance. Him, Josh Allen, everybody else. If you didn't have a chance to beat him this year, you're never going to beat him. Because that Kansas City front office is going to spend every dollar on pass catchers this offseason. Every dollar. And that's all I'm saying. Let's just have equal opportunity here. We got to keep it real. Stop, yelling, oh, it was rigged, or oh, that was a flag. No, it wasn't a flag. The nigga threw in triple coverage. There was no reason to get that pass off, man. So stop with it and just acknowledge greatness when you see it. That Patrick Mahomes is one of them guys. It's his yard, and it's gonna be like that for the very near future, man. So that is my sound off. We will get more into Lamar Jackson, what happened with the whole Baltimore Ravens situation, man. But let's get into our first topic, which we're going to continue to talk about Patrick Mahomes, about him being unstoppable, man. Let's bring in Dante and Courtney back in here. Bang had to make a move. He hopefully will be joining us later in the show. So we'll see about that. But how do y'all feel about Patrick Mahomes first? Let's get into Patrick Mahomes and what we saw this weekend. I'll go to you, Courtney.
I mean, Scott, we both said it last week. We said it weeks before that. hell, y'all said it to start the season. Patrick Mahomes is inevitable, and until we see somebody beat him, I don't care if they're on the road. I don't care if they're at home. I don't care if it's 20 degrees, -5 degrees. I don't care if it's 100 degrees. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes and I'm taking the Chiefs. Crazy stuff.
Dante, what you got?
The only time the man is lost, he didn't get the ball one time, and the other one was in overtime. What can we say? Like, I was talking to my friends about this, and I think this is real. You know, it's gonna take time for this to really settle in, but like, it's gonna get to the point where like he's really like LeBron in a sense, where he's just battling ghosts. Because when he's setting the bar this high so early in his career, he said 6 straight AFC championships. You gotta think he's gonna get to a point where, you know, we saw Bron go to the finals for a decade.
LeBron had an over 500 championship record, but that's neither here nor there.
See, I knew you were gonna come with that. I wasn't done.
I mean, if we gonna do that, we gotta keep it real.
Yeah, no, but that helps his argument, because like you said in your opening, like he's doing something that we've never seen before. So when we start to really have that GOAT argument, even if bro don't get to 7, if he wins 5 Super Bowls, has 5 league MVPs, is however many times all pro, he has an argument that he is the greatest of all time, even though in my opinion already he's the best quarterback I've ever seen, like, you know, flat out. So that's just what it is. But Pat Mahomes is, like I said, the greatest, bro. At this point, I don't bet against him, man. I'm not gonna bet against him no more. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, you can't bet against them. There's nothing you can do. Well, and I don't want to say that this championship feels, you know, inevitable, because I don't want to disrespect the San Francisco 49ers. And also,
it's gonna be a game.
It'll be a game. And also, we've seen, you know, Brady has had teams. The 2007 Patriots, which even though they lost, to me is the best offense I've ever seen in my life. Like, that was like a light show like none other. Even they lost. Like, this just, you know, Tom Brady beat everybody, but for the love of God, could never beat Eli Manning. And Eli Manning is going to the Hall of Fame strictly because of his last name. I've said it for 20 years. I'm going to keep saying he's Jay Cutler with opportunity. That's who Eli Manning is. And I will stand by that. No disrespect, Eli, but that is what it is. And even he lost. And people forget there was a 10-year period where Tom Brady didn't win a Super Bowl. So I'm not saying that the Chiefs can't lose in 2 weeks. But I'll tell you what, I'm not betting that them niggas will lose in 2 weeks. That's for damn sure. I mean, just look at the stats, man. He's 30 for 39, 1 touchdown. Even though he had only 1 touchdown and no interceptions, the way he controlled the game. You know, that pass towards the end of throwing it to Marquez Valdez-Scantling at the end, it sealed the game. It's like, it never felt like he was out of it. And the biggest thing here for the Ravens was the mistakes they made. And that's why they kind of remind me of like the Patriots or any great team in the history of sports. You know, the 90s Cowboys, you know, the 80s Niners, you know, the 90s Bulls, you know, and all these other kind of dynasties. We can look at the Warriors. They are great because they don't have to be great all the time. They don't have to be the best version of themselves, because they know you're going to be the worst version of yourself, and they're going to take advantage of that. We saw that plenty of times, and that's exactly what the Baltimore Ravens done. That's the same shit the Bills did last week. I mean, if you want to be honest, this is a team in the Chiefs where everybody said, I just don't know how they're going to score points. They've had problems scoring all regular season, and now you're seeing they're one of those teams where the regular season doesn't matter. It's about getting to the playoffs, man. Like, we can sit up here, even in the NBA, with the Nuggets, they lost by 40 to the Knicks. Let's be real. When it gets around fucking Mother's Day, are the Knicks going to be there? No, they're not. It's going to be the fucking Denver Nuggets. They know what it takes to win basketball games. Even if you bring up a LeBron James, the reason people are not panicking on the Lakers right now heavily is because we know what LeBron can do come playoff time. They're in the same position they were last year, and LeBron got that team all the way to the Western Conference Finals. So it's the thing about greatness that we're seeing from this team, that you have to be on your top level to even have a chance to beat them. And I knew from the beginning, and Dante, you said this last week, all the signs led to them blowing it. I mean, they had Michael Phelps was the honorary captain. They brought out every old school Raven. They had T. Sizzle was there, and Ray Lewis was there. Motherfucking Shaq was there, nigga. They had, Antoine Bolden, everybody.
They doing skits in the middle of the game.
The back. Yeah,
it was a joke. Like, motherfuckers coming out in the middle of like in TV timeouts and shit. They got Terrell Suggs coming out doing his little thing. They lose and need some inspiration. They hit the lights. Ray Lewis walk out. Like, nigga, you ain't finna suit up. Like, what are we doing?
They had T-Pain performing mid timeouts and shit. Like, it just looked like, and even during the middle, you know, what really like flared my Bears PTSD up? That little, you know, huddle that Roquan Smith had in the middle of the field, and he hyping everybody. I'm like, damn, I've seen this before. Yeah, a double doink game, nigga. When he did the same shit. And him and Khalil Mack and Reverend. I'm like, yeah, see, this is like when the Bears will bring out the 85 Bears or, you know, RP, you know, Dick Buckets, and they bring him out. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. Like, they were just testing the Chiefs, like, oh, yeah, let's really, you know, throw this in y'all faces. And then you can see at the Chiefs came there on bullshit. The way they had the Tucker incident, the Justin Tucker incident, moving his, you know, his helmet around. And Justin Tucker, I saw it. Did you see his video about what he said about the incident?
No, what did he say?
He got real white man. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I just, you know, it was just something here. I'm like, nigga, cut the shit. Like, if y'all had won, we wouldn't be saying none of this. Yeah. So I just love, you know, what the Chiefs are doing. You know what I'm saying, and how they're doing it. And maybe I know I'm in the you know, in the minority. I like when the villain wins. I like, everybody likes the underdog story. Not that I don't like the underdog story. Underdog story is cute. But I like the juggernaut. I like the niggas who ain't supposed to.
When did the Chiefs become the villains, by the way?
Yeah,
they're the villains.
No.
The villains.
You people, you know what? This only, in my opinion, maybe it's because I'm a woman, and maybe also because I'm a fan of the girl. I really only noticed this when Taylor Swift started popping up, that now everybody hates the Chiefs. Right? It was popular to hate Brittany Mahomes. Now she's like a little bit more subdued. Now Taylor Swift is in the picture. And man, they're just winning and having fun. Go tell your fucking team to draft somebody good.
You just hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head, G. Niggas hate winners because they can't relate to it. That's what it like in any situation. We can even 50 Cent has a quote that is spot on. Niggas like you winning when they can relate to it. When you win too much and you get into a tier they can't relate, that's when they start hating on you. When 50 was a people's champion, when Get Rich or Die Trying came out, everybody loved 50. Then he started doing, you know, 2 million a week with the Massacre. Oh, he sold out. He ain't real hip hop. Well, it's the same shit. The Chiefs were the cool story. Oh, they saved Andy Reid. If there's anything that you can add to Patrick Mahomes' legacy, is taking the fraud allegations off Andy Reid, because we'll get into in that minute. I'm old enough to remember when the Eagles went to 5 NFC Championship games. Only went to the Super Bowl once. 5. Only went to the Super Bowl once and lost because of that choker.
I'm gonna say it wasn't his fault. His quarterback was a drunk, but keep going.
Yeah, but you know, I'm with you, but you know, and the coach is going to get a lot of the blame. That's just how it is. The coach and the coach, you know, it's funny. Donovan did get away with a lot, but we're not hitting around on Donovan there. But so you're right, Courtney. People don't like winners. Oh, I'm tired of seeing the same team. Beat them, nigga. Tell your GM to put it better.
As an Alabama fan, I truly relate. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, beat them. You know what I'm saying? Put together a better roster and beat them, man. But Taylor Swift does have a little, you know, part of it. Actually, before we get to Andy Reid, I want to actually talk about Taylor Swift real quick. I'm gonna move this up on the rundown since, you know,
let's talk about
great job of throwing a lot of this. I just want to say this. First one thing. I'm not a nigga that listens to Taylor Swift. If y'all look at me, y'all know I'm not a nigga who listens to Taylor Swift. If you put a gun to my head right now and told me to name 2 Taylor Swift songs, I'm going to join Prince and Michael Jackson.
She's literally the most popular artist in the world.
Oh, I know who she is. Just I know who she is, don't mean I listen to her music. I know who she is. I know exactly.
It's like one of those things you can't avoid.
No, it's easy. I avoid a lot of shit.
Yeah, and I also think our former allegiance to Kanye West kind of, you know, kept us away from Taylor Swift.
No,
for a while. Years ago.
Even at the height of my Kanye fandom, I knew he was a dickhead for that shit. Like they ain't had like that. Like that's majority of people. I'm clear the lane up on me. I'm going there. I'm going there. But this is I don't know any of her songs. You know what I'm saying? Like I know Bad Blood, and that's because Kendrick Lamar's on it. So that is it. So I don't listen to her, but I'm very aware of her. What the general public need to stop doing is stop acting like this is some random woman. Okay, like no disrespect to Monica or Ashanti, but y'all acting like they showing Monica and Ashanti every 2 seconds during the middle of this fucking game. This is Taylor goddamn Swift. Okay, she has a massive following. She is a mega star, And does the NFL need a promo? No. But does it hurt? Hell no. It don't hurt whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be even more real about it. If it was Beyonce, we would have no problems about them showing her every 2 seconds. Let's call a spade a spade.
My nigga, I'm glad you said that. That was exactly what the fuck I was about to say.
If
that was Beyonce,
y'all
it would not be an issue at all.
Well, it would just be a different. If people would still be mad, men would still be mad. It just would be a different demographic of men that are mad. It would be a completely different demographic.
It's not just men; it's women too. I got a whole bunch of
niches out there being mad. Oh, men don't want to see Taylor Swift. Men just want to watch football. Girl, Taylor Swift ain't hurting nobody. She's up there supporting her man. I'm sorry it's not you, and you married a plumber. Cheers.
And also it's not like she's dating Marquez Valdez-Scantling. She's dating Travis Kelce, nigga. Like there's a reason that this is going on, man. So I just want to say, stop it. Y'all know when y'all doing this shit. Let's stop acting like she's some random woman. If I'm Roger Goodell is Birdman hand rubbing right now, because yeah, nigga, I got 2 weeks of Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift. I got Usher performing, nigga. We in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I got a rematch of 4 years ago. The Niners are one of the biggest franchises in the NFL. We finna have a great time. I'm rolling everything right now. And so that's just what I got to say about that. Bang, you back. What do you feel about the whole Taylor Swift thing? Are people overhating?
Yeah. And I'm overhating too. I ain't even gonna lie. People are overhating because I'm overhating. Look, I just had a conversation with my cousin, and this is one of those situations where I'm selective in who I talk to, because it's all about money and demographics in this case. I read somewhere that she's helped grow like $133 million off of her presence alone. Taylor Swift is the biggest superstar in the world outside of Bad Bunny, and that's it. She made it
right, and that's it.
She became a billionaire off of a damn tour. Taylor Swift is a brand. She's a very popular brand. Now, whatever you think about the relationship, if it's a fake relationship or not, the thing about it is what's not fake is what comes with Taylor Swift. You're gonna have a lot of women, white women, ages 18 to 34, that's gonna have eyes on the Super Bowl, way more than probably is what has happened in the past. And now you got 2 weeks to groom them in Taylor Swift NFL information, however you want to put it. And then you get to the game. It's so bad that I just read on TMZ that they said that Taylor Swift will not be performing at the Super Bowl. Duh, nigga. But she's overshadowing Usher in the Super Bowl performance, and he ain't even performed yet. But that's not the NFL's problem. Shit, that ain't Usher's problem. There's nobody's problem, because that Super Bowl is going to gross so much money. And I can tell you the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake is if the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the confetti come down and you see Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift hugging it out.
Oh, bro, when she holds that Lombardi, that is a Getty Images moment right there, goddamn it.
Oh,
so
don't let
I
them
can't
propose.
wait to wear my Eras Tour t-shirt.
I'm glad you said that, Dante. I'm glad.
Don't let him propose. He hit that knee. Oh man!
Shout out
I'm
to
gonna say this.
Shout out to Gustavo in the chat.
You guys literally sound like all the teen girls on TikTok right now.
Hey man,
look, all sound like you know that right now, right?
Hey, look, in the words of Bang, everything is wrestling. Everything is a work. I look at it from a promo. Yeah.
Oh, Donnie, my man Donnie, first Black Champ listener, Barbershop listener. Yes, my guarantee. If you listen to First Black Champ at the end of the show, we do guarantees. My guarantee is if the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce is retiring. I don't know if you saw the interaction with him and his brother. Yep. His brother was like, yo, go get this.
And he was emotional.
I think that Travis Kelce will either retire or take a break, a Gronk break, if you will. But also, I don't think it's going to be a proposal, but part of that retirement is that he gonna follow this girl around everywhere she goes. So watch what happens when Travis Kelce and the Chiefs, if they win the Super Bowl, Either retirement or a Gronk break will happen. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he got down on one knee and proposed. Because
Travis
then,
Kelce, good. My bad.
because
Taylor
then
Swift is not getting engaged before she drops Reputation Taylor's version.
I don't think so
Come
either.
on.
But
Here you
hear me
go.
out.
Come on.
But hear me out.
Go
Hear
ahead,
me
go
out. Because I'm the OG of this. I'm the OG of the team.
ahead.
All right. When the last time you saw a massive American wedding?
American wedding? That's a good point.
It's giving JFK Jr. I understand. Oh my God.
There we go. There we go, Courtney.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Let's go braid each
Yes.
other's hair, bang.
It's giving JFK Jr. vibes. I'm telling you, this is the pop culture bang. Yeah. I'm
Oh
telling
yeah,
you.
yeah. This is definitely
It's coming.
salon talk on
Yes, it's
I'm
coming.
not going to. Yeah.
Oh man.
This is definitely, and I'll say this: he's about to get his hove on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He about to get his hove. He said he got to put a baby and girl secure the future. Yeah. Remember what Travis Kelce said? He wants to be the most popular athlete. This is the way out. You know what I'm saying? This is the way in there. You know how you always see Beyonce on tour. You see Jay-Z being America's dad. You know what I'm saying? Like we forget this the nigga who said he lost 92 bricks. You know what I'm saying? Like he became the rap game Triple H. That is exactly who Jay-Z became. So, and Travis Kelce's white, so this is gonna go further. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna that's a path that he's gonna go down if he gets his next championship, I believe. And NFL fans who, and by the way, like I said, I don't give a shit. I just like looking at this from a media perspective. And honestly, anything that pisses people off on Twitter, I'm 100% for. That's just what I'm here for. But when you see it on the front page of the NFL Instagram, and it's got Travis Kelce and Travis and Taylor Swift is kissing Lombardi Trophy, oh, that's gonna be the most liked photo maybe in the history of Instagram. I'm telling you right now. And Roger Goodell is smiling like a motherfucker. He's gonna tell Adam Silver, beat that nigga, beat that. So, can we go?
Quick question. While we're on that, what NBA player and superstar could really garner that much attention, if any?
It would be LeBron and Beyonce, but they can't happen.
LeBron and Beyonce, but like if LeBron wasn't already married, LeBron and Beyonce would be.
Yeah.
Oh man,
to the moon.
If they both weren't married, because people already be on Twitter trying to make that fake relationship happen.
Yeah.
So like,
remember we talked about this months ago, and Bang was like Megan Thee Stallion and Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, that's right, Megan Thee
Megan Thee Stallion and Tom Brady. You gonna see Tom Brady at Essence Fest? Tom Brady talking about, man, fuck Nicki Minaj. That would be it. But let's go back to football since Bang, you missed the first couple minutes. Bang, what's your opinion on, when we started this show back in late August, and we said, the Chiefs aren't a dynasty yet. What do you feel about that now as they're one win away, and just like the dominance that Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team has shown?
Man, this is 80s vibes. This is San Francisco 49ers in the 80s. This is Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. This is the New England Patriots for like the last 20 years. We've not seen this in quite some time, like this quick. But yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, they are officially a dynasty. They have to win back-to-back in order for me to do it. I'm not one of those people that's going to give people a participation legacy trophy because they win. They know they got to finish the job. And the thing is that, doing it against a legacy squad like the San Francisco 49ers will help. Seeing Joe Montana and Jerry Rice on the other side, of the field, is definitely going to help with the lore. But yes, San Francisco, they lose. Kansas City, they win. This back-to-back, this is a dynasty. And this could be a long-standing dynasty because Pat ain't going nowhere, and that team is a good team, and they ain't hurt. They can retool. They've done a good job at retool. This was the retool year. Yep. Like the crazy thing, this was the retool year. So yep, they win the Super Bowl, man. Dynasty completed. Go ahead and get the shirts ready.
Yeah, and Bang, to your point, real quick before I know we got to keep going.
No, good.
But you say, this was a retool year, and I think a lot of people we got thrown off because they built up the defense. Yeah. Like their defense has been dominant. Their defense does not give up big plays. Their defense has not given up a lot of points. You know what I'm saying? They've done that all season. And we've been sitting there focusing on, the receivers' failures. But the truth is they haven't had to get too many points this year because their defense has been holding it down. So like that team is crazy, bro.
Man. Shout out to Steve Spagnuolo. He put together an
Legend.
amazing defensive strategy. He was the defensive coordinator on that on them Giants teams, and he took what the Houston Texans did in the first half last week and did that for the entire game. They blitzed Lamar Jackson 41% of the time he had the ball, and they just kept coming. They just kept coming. And the number one thing I said last week when we did our preview, like everybody was talking about, how good the pass rush has been, but niggas aren't talking enough about this Chiefs secondary. Like Zay Flowers is great, but he's still a rookie. Odell's not what he used to be. These niggas got real physical. Snead made one of the best plays that I have seen in a long time. They took the wide receivers out of it and made the game a lot more difficult for Lamar Jackson, made it difficult for the plays that Todd Monken called, man. So we're getting to Lamar and the Ravens in just 1 second, but I'm gonna do what Bang likes to call content is king. So we're gonna hot take it up, man. Is Tom Brady's GOAT status in jeopardy? I just named out the stats in my sound off of everybody going on over there. But I'll say this: Tom Brady there's only two people, in my opinion, in the history of sports who have a 100% undisputed GOAT claim. As much as I love Michael Jordan, he's not one of them two that I was going to name, because I feel like, y'all know how I feel about LeBron. I'm not a LeBron fan, but I feel like if you say LeBron James is a GOAT, even though I disagree with you, I won't argue with you. Wayne Gretzky has no, there's not even niggas who are close to Wayne Gretzky stat-wise. Like, and you even look at some of it, it's like, it looked like video game shit. Tom Brady's the next one. Like, as much as we're praising Patrick Mahomes, he's still 21 playoff victories behind this nigga. Like, there's so many different things that you have to do to even get up there. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be surrounded by the right talent. It depends on how long Andy Reid wants to coach. That's a big thing we're also not talking about. So there's other factors that go with it, and Brady was able to do stuff that nobody else has been able to do health-wise. There's only two people in history of sports I've seen that be that great that long. It's Tom Brady and LeBron James. And on the individual perspective, what LeBron is doing is just asinine. You know what I'm saying? I know Brady won the MVP at 40, definitely. This nigga had 20 rebounds on Saturday. It's like some ridiculous ass shit. So, but if there's anybody who has even a remote chance to get to Tom Brady, it's Patrick Mahomes. Just because the way he started his career much faster and much more dominant than Tom Brady did. So he's definitely on the path of doing it. But I still think we got to, pump the brakes a little bit, see how long can he have the longevity? Will he still be doing it in the year 2034? You know what I'm saying? That the same thing that he's doing now. Can he stay healthy? That's a big key that we got to see from going on there. But and also one thing that's also going to hurt him, even if he does get close. And I'm with you, Dante. As far as talent-wise, I think talent-wise, he's the best quarterback of all time. We're just going off talent. Like, it's not even close. We're going off talent. But to be the GOAT, you got to include, accomplishments and everything like that. But he still lost to Brady twice. And I feel like something at the end, we measure both resumes, no matter how close it'll be, I think that'll probably be the deciding factor for a lot of people. But, Courtney, what do you feel about the GOAT debate? If there's anybody who can get close to Brady, you think Mahomes is on the right path to do that?
I mean, yeah, he's definitely on that path. And I saw someone else say it in the comments. There's nobody else active right now that is even in the same conversation or even on that same trajectory. So, yeah, that they're the only two in the discussion. And, yeah, with time, Patrick Mahomes isn't even 30 yet. Absolutely, he can get there. Absolutely, he can get there.
Well, I think it's a Swanklin San Diego said. He said Pat wins this year, he locks at least top 3 of all time. I mean, I think that's fair if he wins this year. I think he got to win this year before we get a little off the top. No, we talking about the current niggas. It's not even a discussion. When we get into the things with greats in that, you got to win more. I mean, he's still over Peyton Manning for me. Like, I think he crossed Peyton Manning. That's just my opinion, because he actually looked good in the Super Bowls he won. Like, I'm not being a bitter Bears fan, but let's be real. That Super Bowl MVP in 2006 should have went to Dominic Rhodes and fucking Joseph Adai. If you want to be really, really, real about that. And in 2015, that nigga was carried by Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. But that's neither here nor there. So I think Pat has surpassed him. But I do think if he wins this year, then it takes that, even further. But Dante, what do you think about this?
Absolutely. I think, at this point, like I said a few minutes ago, bro, because it's going to get to the point from a personal accolade standpoint and stats. He's going to smoke Tom Brady. Like they put the graphic together, they first 60 however many games they've played, and he's outpacing them in everything, so the numbers are going to be there. He may not catch them in championships, but like I said, if this man walks away with 4 or 5 MVPs, 4 or 5 Super Bowls, like I said, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen, and especially for as much bill as y'all was just shooting Aaron Rodgers a couple years ago, talking about he's the most talented, this, that, and the
Who the
third.
fuck is we?
I'm not you. Of course not you. Of course not the people on this set, but the others. But in no way, shape, or form, you know what I'm saying, can you really deny this man, bro? Like I said, every time they've lost, you know what I'm saying, it ain't been his fault. So we really can't do that, bro. I think as far from a talent standpoint, and you're getting to a point where from a talent and a team accolade standpoint, he's the best we've ever seen. Because one thing about Pat that, this weekend solidified for me is he is the only one that we've seen that can flip that switch. And it's just like, okay, you don't think I can do this? Okay, let me show you. And he's done it several times, even in the Super Bowl when his ankle was fucked up and he went out there and did his thing. So like every time you doubt this man, he's that old school, okay, I'm gonna show you who I am. Where it's like a lot of people these days, they don't seem too mad about losing. Whereas like with
All
Pat,
these
he takes
niggas
this
is
shit
too
personal.
cool, man.
Yeah, and he clearly takes it personal. It's old school.
I don't know if anybody saw Quarterback season 1 on Netflix, but that's when I knew he was a psycho. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he told Travis Kelce, I think they're playing the Raiders, and he's on the sideline. He told Kelce, he's like, "You motherfuckers run the zone on me, man. I take that disrespectful." like he just get, it kind of looked like Jordan in The Last Dance, and I don't know if anybody saw Kobe Muse documentary that came out a couple years before he died. It kind of gave me that, oh, he's a psycho. I like this nigga even more. Bane, what do you feel about, the GOAT conversation?
All right, so I'm a little bit older than y'all, and I'm seeing Dan Marino and all of those in the prime. And for me, the best quarterback I've ever seen play is Dan Marino, bar none. I don't think nobody throws a deep ball like that, man. That shit's so clean and crisp. Then I look at Pat. Pat is Dan Marino if Dan Marino would have got them rings. That's what I look at. That when I look at Patrick Mahomes and I look at everything he's doing, this is what everybody expected Dan Marino to do. And that's why, while I can't give him the GOAT thing yet, because the most talented quarterback I think in that I've seen as far as throwing the ball is Dan Marino. And because Tom Brady got all of those rings, but Dan Marino and Tom Brady together is going to give you everything what Patrick Mahomes is going to have. If Patrick Mahomes win this ring right here, he winning at least 2 more. He's not going to be a situation where he wins this and then we just don't see him in the playoffs, or we don't see him winning the AFC Championship. The man's going to be back in the Super Bowl at least 2 to 3 more times with this team. And I don't care if Andy Reid retires or not, unless Matt Nagy takes over. Like, that's the only thing about the Andy Reid situation that scares me as far as like the longevity of winning rings. If he retires, who's going to take his place? And it ain't nobody on that staff. You try to give Matt Nagy this job, fuck it. You just ruined everything. But I truly believe that everything that Dan Marino wanted to get and what Tom Brady got, you're going to put them together, and that's going to be Patrick Mahomes. And I think right now I can never give somebody the greatest of all time tag while they're like not even halfway through their career, because that's the scary part. He ain't even halfway there. But when it's all said and done, Scott, I think you're right, to the point where Patrick Mahomes might be in Gretzky territory. Y'all got to remember, Gretzky broke the scoring record like early in his career.
Yeah.
And he spent the rest of the year blowing that shit out the water. It's not many people like Gretzky when you say greatest of all time and you look at the steep decline. And that steep decline is like people like Mario Lemieux, Jameer Jagger. Like, if you look at that man and then you look at everybody below him, you like, damn, them niggas is cold too. So, Yeah, y'all just get ready, man. Your grandkids' kids gonna be talking about Patrick Mahomes and how cold he is.
Yeah, and I didn't know, one thing, I appreciate Bang on this show. Shout out my man Damien, 'cause y'all always made me feel younger. So I appreciate y'all. But like everybody else, like on Twitter who be, call me Unc and shit, I realize how young y'all niggas are because y'all forget like how the Patriots were. There's a lot of people who already forgot the dominance of the Patriots. How many teams? Remember those mid 2000s Chargers teams? The Phillip Rivers, LT. And Brady would just come in there with a team
Antonio
he had
Gates.
no business. Antonio Gates, a team he had no business, beating them with, coming in and doing. This is the kind of shit that Mahomes does. And if I was in the AFC, I would be so pissed. They had 20 years of Tom Brady, and then this nigga just, we got another nigga who might be even better than him that you got to hang on for the next.
So you saying the AFC should feel like Bears fans?
Yeah, right. AFC to an extent, because even though Jordan Love, look, I'm not really worried about that nigga, but we're not here to rant about the Bears. But we'll talk about the NFC North in the local hour because I got some takes about that. Mikey will be joining in about 30 minutes to join us in on the show. But let's talk about real quick one last Chiefs thing, and we'll move on to the Ravens. Let's talk about Andy Reid. Andy Reid, when you always talk about dynastic type teams, there's always coaches. You know what I'm saying? Bang, you brought up the 80s Niners. And of course, that's Bill Walsh. You bring up the Showtime Lakers. My man Pat Riley, the Godfather. 90s Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson, Phil Jackson, You can add Steve Kerr to it, Bill Belichick. Those are like legendary coaches who went through all of this thing. You gotta get the love to Andy Reid. Andy Reid's been in the game a long time. I remember Andy Reid. He was offense coordinator, a QB coach for that 90s Green Bay team, where they was with, Brett Favre and, Sterling Sharp and all those guys. And to see where he's come from Philadelphia. And, Bang, like you said, we remember a certain time. I remember when people were calling Andy Reid a choke artist.
Yep.
When they made 5 straight NFC Championship games with the Philadelphia Eagles and didn't win one, only went to 1 Super Bowl. So to see him go from that to where he's at now, I love it for Andy Reid because everything I've heard about him, I've only had one interaction with Andy Reid, and he's cool guy to me. I love to see where he's at, but that's also a big part in this dynasty where they're only, in my opinion, they're only going to be as good as long as he's there, or unless he finds the right replacement when he does decide to ride off into the sunset. Matt Nagy's not there. I would laugh my ass off if Matt Nagy gets a fucking Ferrari and crashes that motherfucker. That would be hilarious. But Bang, I'm gonna go to you first. What do you think about the greatness of Andy Reid?
I think Andy Reid is the most underrated coach in NFL history, and that's saying a lot. And the reason why I use the term underrated is those Philly years. We don't talk about those Philly years enough. He just ran into a lot of shit, but they went to what you say, it was 5 straight NFC Championship games.
Yep.
You had Donovan McNabb throwing to people that you only remember Terrell Owens, G. Brian
Freddie Mitchell.
You don't remember Fred. No, nobody remember Freddie Mitchell, but
Fred X.
Right?
Fred X.
You know what I'm saying? You had Brian Dawkins, on the defensive side of the ball, Jeremiah Trotter, and all of those teams. Those teams was great teams. Some of those teams could possibly go down to some of the best teams to not win a Super Bowl. And then he gets fired. And he got fired because they was like, yo, we just need another voice. Not that you're good, but we just need another voice. And he went over to Kansas City, and Kansas City was good with Alex Smith.
Yep. And
then you draft Patrick Mahomes and turn Patrick Mahomes into one of the greatest of all time. Like Andy Reid, in my opinion, I would talk about Andy Reid the same way that you talk about Bill Belichick. And if I was him, I'd try to keep this job as long as possible. But I do believe that if they win this Super Bowl, I do believe that Andy Reid will think about retiring, and he will possibly only stay if he feels like the person that should replace him is not there. And I don't think he trusts Matt Nagy to take over for him. We should be talking about Andy Reid a lot more in a lot higher state than we do. And we only talk about Bill Belichick in that way. And that's why he's underrated to me. And yeah, Todd Pinkston fan.
Todd Pinkston, that's a good one.
Like so yeah, man. We should hail Andy Reid like we do Bill Belichick.
Courtney, what's your take on Andy Reid's legacy?
I mean, yeah, I'm right there with Bang. I think it was Pat McAfee, pardon me, that said it. That a lot of people don't take Andy Reid or give him the kind of credit that he deserves because he's not all buttoned up and serious like Bill Belichick is and talks about freaking cheeseburgers and shit. But like, yeah, you got to put some respect on the man's name. You don't get to 5 NFC appearances with one team and then 6 straight AFC Championship appearances with another. You got 2 rings, a third, just a game away. That's goat shit. That's goat shit. He's up there with Coach Bill Belichick.
Definitely. Dante, take us home on Andy Reid.
I think Andy Reid is one of those people who gets lost in the whole rings culture. Everybody says championship or bust, and they live by that. So when you look at the guy who has all the success that he's had, you'll sit here and say, well, he didn't win at all. And it's like, well, yeah, a lot of motherfuckers don't win the NFC. Like, he won that bitch like 6 times. So, the championships are just the icing on the cake. It's kind of like with Dusty Baker. For years they tried to shit on him when, he has one of the most decorated resumes in baseball history. He just was missing the crown jewel, which was the World Series that he got. So I think that's what it is with Andy. But I think for us to have been able to watch the entirety of his career for the most part, when he was in Green Bay, we were shorty. So like we would see the L's, but we wasn't too in tune with everything he was doing. But growing up with him in Philly, now seeing him in Kansas City and everything he's done, like, he's one of those guys. When he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer without a question. And he's top 3 coaches in his tenure. And like when you look at his career is going to go so long. It spans, the career of multiple people. So Andy Reid, like you said, is legendary. He doesn't get mentioned with Belichick, but he should. And, it's the whole rings culture thing.
I'm not going to disagree with what you're saying. You know why I hate the term ring culture? Like, I get what people say about it because some people do, like, discredit the greats because they don't have rings. But also, that's the point of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like, in the words of Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. So it's like, I don't like how people use rings like we're not supposed to use them. Like, that's not supposed to be part of, like, a legacy conversation. I'm not saying that people do go OD. To your point, Don, some people do say, oh, he ain't got a ring, he ain't shit. No, it shouldn't be that. But I personally, and this is not, I'm not coming at you, obviously. I'm just saying, like, I've never liked the phrase ring culture. Because it's like, nigga, you supposed to win. Like, niggas ain't just here to just play.
But that's the problem. You got people that take it too far and fuck it up for everybody who has sense. Like, for example, Charles Barkley is 6'6". That man is the greatest rebounder to ever touch a fucking basketball court. And it goes without question. Not only that, Charles didn't get a ring because Michael Jordan went fucking nuclear and averaged 41 points a game.
41 points per game.
He had to average 41, and we beat them by it was 3, 6, 5. They didn't get blown out, bro. Yeah. Like, they went
triple overtime games. Triple overtime games.
And this man was 6'6". Yeah. Like, it's funny every time they bring people to the studio and they interview him and they stand next to Chuck and they all towering over this man. Bro, he was like 3 inches taller than that man. And this is the greatest rebounder in NBA history. That's the only reason I don't like when everybody, because Jalen Rose made a good point. He said, you see a lot of rings on eBay. He was like, that shit ain't everything you think it is. So, like, don't get me wrong, it matters, but people take it too far.
Man, you also asked Jalen Rose if he loses sleep about 98 and 2000.
He do. Oh, he loses sleep, but go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. He said it. Bro was like, he said at the same time, he was like, if you ask me to trade in like the contracts I signed for a championship ring, fuck no. He said it several times. He's like, fuck no.
Yeah, he definitely lose sleep, but also, you know what I'm saying, let's look at some of those people that won rings, man. And you're right. Jason Caffey probably didn't put his ring up for
option. Yeah, but okay, we talking about.
I don't like this. This feels like Robert Horry erasure, and I'm not stand for it.
No, I love Big Shot Bob. Big Shot Bob actually did something to win those rings. Like, so to me, when I talk about ring, I feel like rings should only matter when it comes to the greats. Is what I mean. Like, we don't. I don't even know where Jason Caffey might be in Lower Wacker somewhere right now. I don't know where the fuck he is.
That's crazy.
Did you see him at the Ring of Honor? He looked like he living under fucking Lil Wacker. That's all I'm saying. But we don't know what these niggas is at. So it's like that when it comes to that, like there's other role players. Like we go to the Role Player Hall of Fame. Robert Horry's in there. Andre Iguodala's in there. So theirs does. I'm not saying theirs don't hold the same weight. But if you comparing Shaq to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we talking rings. Now, of course, there's little notes. You know, when you in college, nigga, you gotta put them little notes in there. Like, oh yeah, well, Kareem had magic like last couple championships. There's little notes in there too. But you play to win the game. And even in the NFL, like outside of quarterbacks, like we're not talking about which receiver has rings. It's really just quarterbacks. They control the most of it. So I actually probably want to do like a longer topic on that, maybe for a Patreon episode or something. But we're going to move on to our next topic. Let's talk about the guys who lost this game. That is the Baltimore Ravens. This is what you all tuned in for. So
there we go.
I had a great night last night. I had an amazing night last night because one, fuck the Detroit Lions. In the words of Bang, and Bang, Courtney held you down on Friday. She said, in the words of Bang, nobody give a damn about the Detroit Lions. We did the preview. So she held you down on that. To see the Lions lose in such an epic fashion was beautiful. But we'll get into that in a minute. Like I said about Lamar Jackson, I'm going to keep repeating myself. I feel like people don't hear me and they want to run whatever narrative they spew. I do not hate Lamar Jackson. I am a fan of Lamar Jackson. I've said for years, I want him to prove me wrong. And I also said this year, I said it a couple months ago, that this was the best passing I've seen from him this year. But the problem is not that he can't pass, is he needs to do it consistently. Now, I'm not putting all the blame on Lamar. John Harbaugh and Moccasin, they need their ass whooped for making this man throw the ball as much as he did and completely ignoring the running game. How the fuck does Patrick Mahomes have 2 more rushing attempts than Lamar Jackson? He needs to run there needs to be a balance with the man. But on top of that, he didn't make the right throws. You know, we said, Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers had an all-time Bozo Jean drive. He's a rookie. He's young. We'll give him a pass. We got a call like it is. You can't do that taunted play. People who compared it to Travis Kelce. When Travis Kelce spun the ball and walked off. You can't push a nigga down, stare at him, then spin the ball in front of him. Like, you're going to get a penalty, bro. You can't do that. And then the flying, he could have just went down to the 1-yard line and they could have ran that bitch in. And so that's, part, rookie awareness, wanting to be all in the videos, but also great play by Snead. But it could have been a better throw by Lamar. There was too many drives. But the defense did their part. Roquan, that defense, they were excellent. Anytime you can hold a Patrick Mahomes-led team to 0 points in 30 minutes of football, you did a great job. Patrick Mahomes only had 1 touchdown. For what you try to contain Mahomes, he did a good job. But you can't be not scoring points, bro. You got to take advantage of this. And my whole thing is this. We have to be honest. You can like who your favorite quarterbacks are, but you also got to keep it a buck. Like, I love Kobe Bryant to death. I cried like a bitch when Kobe died. But I know that the first 3 championships, Shaq was the main nigga. And that's not a disrespect to Kobe because Kobe went and got it later on. You know what I'm saying? But we got to keep it real about our favorite players. Do I think that, that Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback? No, he's an elite quarterback. Of course, we got Deion Sanders once said that people get in the Hall of Fame, but there's floors on the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Deion's like, I got my own floor in the Hall of Fame and things like that. So there's different floors. Pat got his own floor in the greatest current players, and Lamar is somewhere down there. I still think Lamar on my list is still number 4. And yes, he has more playoff success than Josh Allen. I 100%. He has better individual success than Josh Allen too. Not disagreeing with that. For anybody who wants to use the Josh Allen card, I just prefer Josh Allen in my quarterback ranks. I think number 2 is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the only person to beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. So we got to be honest about it. He got to take it on the chin, bro. It is what it is. I'm not saying that he won't ever do it. I think the chances are low now because it's the best opportunity to beat Patrick Mahomes. But we can't just be giving niggas passes just because we like them. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to shit on Josh Allen last week, if we're going to shit on Joe Burrow and he don't do things, you got to shit on Lamar. He has to shoulder most of the blame because if they'd have won that game, despite that pick he threw it in, all we heard about Lamar, he's the only one who can get close to Pat. It can't be. Which way is it going to be, man? Is it Uchiwali or is it one Mike? I just want everybody to be honest with their, evaluation of Lamar. It's good. He's a good quarterback, but he's not great yet. And until he throws the ball consistently in playoff games, that's just is what it is, man. I'm gonna go to Dante first, man. What do you feel about Lamar's performance and just how the Ravens, let him down a little bit too?
Yeah, bro, it's one of those things where, like, I've been saying it for years. You know how quarterbacks get most of the blame, most of the praise. So it is what it is. You got to take it when it comes good and bad. And so with Lamar, this is one of the issues when we have these moments where we sit here and build it up as, hey, well, this is the time for him to, take his, place as one of the elite. And when it doesn't happen, we are quick to just shit on him. When the reality is, like we said, the Chiefs defense played a great game. There were mistakes made between Baltimore just abandoning the run as a whole, which, really didn't make a lot of sense, of just abandoning, and especially with Lamar, because there were so many moments you saw him, patting it in the pocket, just waiting, trying to make a play down the field. And when those plays weren't there, because like you said, their secondary did such a great job, it was nothing he could do. And so when they did make plays, you have penalties. The Zay, seeing what we saw last week with Hardeman, for Zay to do that, like, again, I know you want to make a play, but it's never smart to do that shit because things like that happen. So that was unfortunate, but at the end of the day, that was a big play. And now you have to sit here and listen to people who don't really do the necessary research to make the statements they make about Lamar, but because they have their preconceived notions and everything, they believe they're gonna just run with it. So I mean, it's one of those things where you just got to take it right now, because in this moment he did not perform. He did not do what he was supposed to do, what he had been doing all season. If he had a game like he had a few weeks ago where he had, I want to say, 159 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, he ran for 100 yards and had 2 touchdowns, nobody would have said anything because the production is there. But when you have this type of game, and then now it's just question mark, can he do it? We always do this with great players until they get over that mountaintop. So
to the territory.
Yeah, he at this point, you can't make excuses. You just got to wear it. Like, we lost. They didn't do enough. They got to come back next year and try to get it done.
Yeah, there was a time when Michael Jordan was just looked at as a scorer. Oh, he can't lead a team. Peter Vesey was the original Skip Bayless. People, there was a lot of takes about Michael Jordan. Even the 10 years that Brady didn't win a championship. Oh, was Brady ever that good? He was carried by the defense. Even now, we acting like Bill Belichick wasn't a great coach because Tom Brady won in Tampa. My question to you, Bang, one, about Lamar, his performance. And two, do you feel like, I feel like this is something I heard on Rich Eisen, not Rich Eisen, it was Lebatard. Shout out to Jamel Hill brought this. Do you feel like the coaching staff or the Ravens wanted to make a point to try to beat narratives, tell y'all, oh, Lamar can't throw the ball when we need him to?
Nah, I don't think they did that. Nah, I don't want to go that far. Yeah, shout out to Peter
Spawn Kemp. Yeah, that's a throwback.
Yeah. As far as Lamar's performance, it was for where we at right now, his career was unacceptable. And it's hard for me to say that because I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. But when you look at how people view the quarterback position and everything, I don't think there's no person that's going to tell you that Lamar Jackson is not a great quarterback. But when you say sometimes great quarterbacks don't win Super Bowls because of why they are great, somebody's going to say that about Lamar Jackson. I talked about Dan Marino earlier in this show, and how Dan Marino is my favorite quarterback of all time. But Dan Marino didn't have a running back to save his life. Yeah, can't nobody name a running back that he had in his prime. You can name the wide receivers: Mark Clayton, Mark Duper, O.J. McDuffie, Keith Jackson. You can name them, but you can't name a running back. And if he had a better running game, he probably would have been in a different situation. But Dan Marino is a pocket quarterback, sling, deep ball, all that stuff. Lamar Jackson is not that person. So when you game plan against somebody like him and in the playoffs, it's game planning to a different level. Lamar Jackson is going to have to beat you in order for you to win. And that's just not going to happen right now. And that's the disappointing part of this, because he's going to win MVP. And then he's going to win his second MVP. And we're not talking about him going to the Super Bowl, because while his game is cold and we love to see him on that field, when it comes down to it, he does not have, he got the arm, he can sling it, but he doesn't have the skills to beat you during this part of the game, because he's eased the game plan, because it's like, yo, keep him in the pocket and we will live. Like, anytime somebody say we will live with him beating us in this way, lets you know that they don't respect you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, and as great as Lamar Jackson is, they don't respect him enough to throw his team on his back and throw the ball where it needs to be. And he knows that too. So
I was going to say this before we go to Courtney. I also want to say this too, because I feel like that's something that gets ignored too, that you just said, Bang. Like, there's some people who go over the top with it and they say, oh, the niggas are running back, things that just don't make sense. But if the people who are game planning for him tell you we don't respect his arm, why I'm the asshole when I say that? Like, why I'm not, when there's people, it's kind of like what people say about
like he's black. He's a black quarterback.
The way you say it, Scott.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta say it sometimes.
It's not the message, it's the messenger.
Fuck all that. There's sometimes you gotta feed the food to people. Like, we are pacifying him because we like him, and that's all I'm saying about this shit. Like, until he actually does it consistently, that's just gonna be what it is. You know what I'm saying? When you have a thing around you, whether it's true or not, even though I feel like this was true, it's gonna stick. We talked about this on Friday. Everybody keep calling Paul George a choke artist. When the fuck Paul George really actually legitimately choke? It's just something that stick with him until he actually wins the championship, go to the NBA Finals, is gonna stick. So if people who are defending and like game planning for Lamar, obviously the Chiefs defense is like, keep rushing, buddy. Like, we ain't worried about him, you know, exploiting our blitz, man. Keep rushing him. And it worked. So that's all I'm saying. But Courtney, go ahead.
No, I really don't have much to add. Y'all pretty much nailed it. Good, not great. Until proven otherwise, good, not great. And I hate to say it because I really do love Lamar Jackson and I really wanted them to win. He's good, not great.
Ain't gonna cut it. Ain't gonna cut it. But and I know I'm gonna be dubbed the Lamar hater for people who watch the show, and that's fine. I can carry that baton. I can carry it. But I'm just telling you, I just need to see more, man. But let's move on to a team that if you want to call me a hater, I'm definitely a hater here. I loved watching the Detroit Lions lose last night. It was in peak Detroit Lions fashion. I just want to say this. First of all, it was a good story. Fun little thing. Detroit making it. They ain't won a playoff game in 30 years. Woo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because now you're home with us. And I just want to say to people out there who try to rationalize division hate, stop. You're probably people who are really fun to be at parties. I don't got to give you a reason why I don't like them. I don't like them because they're in my division. Yes, how they have not been shit majority of their time here, but they shit now. So now I want them to feel like the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. So people, how you gonna hate from outside the club? Nigga, we both outside the club now. What the fuck you talking about? Like, the bouncer won't let neither one of us niggas in right now. So I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. But Dan Campbell, hear me and hear me good. And I wish Mikey was here. Mikey should be here in about 10 minutes. I wanted to say this. This might be a little hot take, but as Bang says, content is king. When it comes to decision making in the fourth quarter, I think Dan Campbell was just as asinine as Matt Eberflus. Like, I know we like his rah-rah speeches and things like that, but he cost it. Was it 100% his fault? No. Reynolds got to catch that damn ball. But you got to be smarter, bro. Even if you look a couple weeks ago against the Cowboys, I think it was, him going for it on fourth down is the reason why they didn't get the second seed. It's cost them too many opportunities. When you're up 17 points on the road against the number one seeded San Francisco 49ers, who just pulled off a comeback against your division rival 7 days ago. I understand wanting to go for it. I get it. And I don't even think play-wise it was a bad play call. Reynolds catches that ball, we're probably not having this conversation. But you got to think, oh, let me just take these 3 points, and it's still a 3-score game regardless. Take 3 points. That changed it. We all know Brock Purdy is Joe Montana when momentum is flying. Like, this nigga becomes somebody we ain't never seen when the momentum is in the 49ers review. And then they came back, scored a touchdown, they fumble, and then at the end of the game, you still have a shot. You have an opportunity to tie the game, and you go for it again. So I don't want to hear about analytics or what was the right thing. You lost the game for these dudes, and you said it in the locker room, and I appreciate his candidness. I appreciate him telling your team, yo, it's going to be 30 times harder next year. You know what I'm saying? The Packers are getting better. I know I'm going to do my bear shit here. Caleb Williams is coming. I'm standing on it. I don't give a fuck. I see Dante giving me the eye right now. I don't give a fuck. There's going to be a division race next year. The NFC is going to get tougher. Team's going to be reloaded. And everybody says, oh, we're going to come back. We're in a good situation. This is the NFL, bro. You can be 9-8, 7-10 next year. That shit just don't happen. So for him to tell his team, this might have been our shot. I respect it, but nigga, the main reason why it wasn't their shot. Everybody thought they lost, we'd be blaming Jared Goff. If I was Jared Goff, I would have whooped my whole wide receiving core ass. Goff was throwing darts all night, and it just didn't matter because these dudes couldn't catch, and they were taking them out of there, man. So Dan Campbell, I'm not saying that you don't be you. In the words of Matt Nagy, I have no problem with you being you. And if it pays out, we're not having this conversation. If it pays off, we're talking about, oh, let's talk about the pause of Dan Campbell and just see how he believes in the team. It'd be a different situation. But they didn't, nigga. If you took the goddamn point, if you took both of them points, they winning, and it's finna be Buff Central down motherfucking Las Vegas Strip. But now you niggas is going home, man. That's what I gotta say about that. I'm gonna go to Bang because he was not here on Friday. But you've been hating on this team from the beginning and said since week 1, don't nobody give a fuck about no Detroit Lions. How you feeling today, brother?
Nobody gives a damn about the Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions. And the thing is, I picked them to win. I thought we was gonna get
I did too.
I thought we was gonna get a rematch of the first game of the year. But I understand what people say about their head coach Dan Campbell. You know, that's how you got here. But when you up and you get points, that's the way you put your foot on their necks. See, Dan Campbell thinks you got to get 6-7 points to put a foot on somebody's neck. Sometimes 3 work just fine, Jack. I think he coached them out. Momentum is real, ladies and gentlemen, especially in football. When things just feels like it's going to go your way. And because football is a game of will. That's why I got mad at y'all that day when we was talking about the tush push. Because I think the tush push is a reminder of football is a game of will. And whoever has the most of that is normally going to win. And Detroit, for all of that they do have, they had a coach who just coached them out of momentum, and they lost that game. And what he said at the end of the game kept it real. Hey, man, we might not get back to the spot. You might not get back to the spot. You know, it's more or less about what you're going to do. So I'm excited to see what the Detroit Lions, you know I shouldn't be saying this, but I am excited to see how they're going to rebound from this, because this was a heartbreaking loss. Either you take this win and you capitalize off of it like they capitalize off of starting 1-6, 1-7, and winning the rest of their games and almost making it to the playoffs. You could do something like that and fall off because you now it's in your head that you fell off the way that you fell off. Or you could take it and run with it. I think they're going to fall off, because especially if their offensive coordinator ends up the head coach of the Washington Commanders. Because as much as we love Dan Campbell from an offensive side of the ball, that's what makes this team go. And Ben Johnson's one of the better offensive coordinators, probably the best offensive coordinator in the league. You start losing coaches, you start losing players, you're never getting that back. So I'm excited about that.
I think that's I think that's we're gonna kind of like move two topics into one. About you talk about like the outlook of the line. So I'll give mine, and I'll give Dante and Courtney. Y'all kind of give like a y'all combo opinion on both of these. I think you hit the nail on the head, man. When it comes to windows, like it's gonna be much tougher next year. We saw how I dealt with Philly this year, losing both their coordinators. They did not look like the same team they looked like last year, and that's something that's definitely gonna hurt them. And I really want to see if it's going to hurt, Jared Goff, without having Ben Johnson there. And shout out our man Swank on the couch. So where do we rank Goff after this year? I feel like he's a lot better than people give him credit for. I think he's a solid quarterback. He's always been a solid quarterback. I don't think my opinion about him has changed too much. But that's also because I think great offensive coordinators. And is that going to change next year? And then you got a situation with Philly right now. Philly is just like taking the cool names off the list. So let's just hire Kellen Moore. Let's hire Vic Fangio, more than it being a better fit or not. So I don't know if Detroit will be in that position, but I do know the division is going to be more equipped next year. Green Bay is going to build off what they did this year. The Bears, whatever quarterback they have, Justin or Caleb, I feel like they're going to be right in that division race. Shit, they were in that division race this year. They fumbled 3 games. So the Bears are going to be in that conversation with them next year. Minnesota's a question mark. We don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be. If they can find a way to figure the quarterback situation out this offseason, then it'll be a 4-way battle for the NFC North. So it's going to be much harder for them. So it's a very blown opportunity. If you're a Lions fan, don't sit up here and lie to yourself. Oh, we back next year. No, don't say that. It's going to be much tougher. The NFC North is not it's Aaron Rodgers' division. Nobody else has a shot anymore. It's gonna be tough. Courtney, what did you think about Dan Campbell performance last, just the Lions in general, and what the outlook is for the upcoming season?
I mean, I don't really give a damn about the Detroit Lions moving forward. I don't care. No, I mean, I hate to steal Bang's whole flow, but like, I really don't care. I don't know if they'll be back in the same position like Bang said, with possibly losing their offensive coordinator. They didn't move the needle that much for me then. They don't move the needle for that much for me now. And I gotta be honest, the best part of that game last night for me, I will say, before I get to that, I will say I do admire someone who triple downs on their bullshit. And Dan Campbell, me, we're locked in, but we're one and the same. Because I do the same and make the same mistakes over and over again too. But I will say, God, what was I about to say? Fuck. Oh, CJ Gardner-Johnson. The wave.
Curb Your Enthusiasm thing.
Dude, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Did you not watch the Falcons and the Patriots a few years ago? Like, the game is not over. That was the highlight of that game for me. As a Saints fan and as an Eagles enjoyer, I did enjoy that as well.
And also, that was the biggest collapse in NFC Championship history, and I think that's the biggest playoff collapse since the 28-3 loss. Dante, tell us how you feel about our up north rivals.
To the city of Detroit. Don't you fret. You still have Coney Island. You still have that big ass slide that everybody breaks their damn neck.
You want to get wingdings with the
nigga?
You still got Sweetwater Tavern.
That's about it. You still a stone's throw away from Toronto, my nigga. That's all I got. But as far as Detroit as a whole, bro, this team ain't, like you said. I think Dan Campbell really hit the nail on the head. And that's, the harsh truth that this probably was their window, and they didn't hit that motherfucker. And we know how the NFL goes. They may be really entertaining, but they're, an injury away from being, like you said, 9-8, 7-10. A lot of things can change. A lot of things can break many different ways based on the people that they have. So, based on everybody in the division, just the NFC as a whole. But I think, with Dan Campbell, my thing, we talk about taking the points, and you can't really switch up what got you there. Now, that may lead to Dan Campbell, taking a step back and reassessing this strategy. Like, I think next year you may see them take the points a little bit more, knowing what they know about their offense and, just their team as a whole. So it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I knew he was going to do it, but when you inside their 30, or I think it was like the 40 or their 30, but either way, makeable field goals both times, and you end up losing by 3 points. So It's unfortunate for the season to end that way, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck because it's the Lions. And so next year, I think for him, I think he's gonna put a heavy emphasis on we still haven't accomplished shit. Like I feel like that's just the type of coach Dan Campbell is. He's gonna tell them whatever the trip to the NFC Championship, it means nothing because you didn't win it. It don't mean anything. So I think you'll have that team, and they'll still compete for the division, but I don't think it'll be this perennial powerhouse like people were expecting or people expect them to be. Like they'll be entertaining, but they'll be like the Vikings. The Vikings won the division a couple of years ago, and the Vikings are ass now. So
I'll say this, and I know Orlando said you can have a meathead as a head coach. This is a good point I wanted to make right here, where I feel like this is an important moment in Dan Campbell's leadership because he can either learn from this and take advantage of that and put this team in the right direction next year, or he's going to double down. And as a notorious double downer myself, I understand when people double down, but rarely does double downing ever pay out for me. But I'm also fucking hard-headed. So is Dan Campbell hard-headed like me? It's something we will learn next year. And also we're going to be talking about the NFC North in the local hour. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, subscribe to the Patreon. Patreon.com/Barbershop Network. It will be me, Mikey, Bang, Dante. We'll be having all Bears talk in the Patreon hour, which will be going up on the Patreon around 9 p.m. Eastern, some shit like that. Also, Pavy will be joining the show in about 15 minutes for weekend in the association. And of course, our brother Mikey will be joining us in about 15 minutes as well. We'll get his opinion on what happened this weekend. But let's talk about the winners. The San Francisco 49ers. They will be heading to yet another Super Bowl, their second Super Bowl in 5 seasons. And they are trying to bring home their 6th Super Bowl championship, man. The Niners have not impressed me for a long time. Like, I feel like since they got bodied by the Ravens on Christmas night, they've looked kind of shaky. And y'all all know I have not been a big Brock Purdy fan at all. I didn't like the narrative around him last year. It was real nasty. But hey, man, one thing we can say about Brock Purdy, bro, and I think the last 2 weeks have shown this, he gets it done when it needs to get done in the fourth quarter. Now, how he gets to that is a different discussion. He's not a perfect quarterback. He made some bad throws last week. He made some bad throws this week. But when it comes to putting the team on his back and doing what he has to do to win, and of course, a big part of that is Christian McCaffrey. Not going to ignore the greatest non-quarterback white man's ever play football. I'm not going to ignore that. He was amazing. But you still got to have a quarterback who makes the throws. And that's exactly what Brock Purdy has done. And I think, honestly, we got to ease up off him a little bit. Now, not completely, because as I said with Lamar Jackson, you still got to get the job done. He's got a monumental task to do done in 2 weeks going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They lose to them again, we're not going to be sitting there. But to say what he's done so far, I feel like we got to at least give it to him as somebody. He's a game man. He's still a game manager. I don't think Cam was wrong or anybody else was wrong about him being a game manager, but he's a game manager that you can win because of, if that makes sense. Like we all know that the reason that the Niners didn't win the Super Bowl a couple years ago is because Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't make the throw to win the game. I have more faith in Brock Purdy to make that throw if they're in that same position again in 2 weeks. So I really love what I saw from Brock. And I love what I saw from Kyle Shanahan. As Dante says on the show every week, Kyle Shanahan can sometimes get in his own head. He did not do this time. And I think what he told I got to give him not only credit on the offensive side as a coach, like an offensive-minded coach, just a coach in general, rallying the guys together at halftime, like we only down 17. We get a score here, things change and ride the momentum. But I love what I saw from Brock Purdy, man. I do think we gotta ease up a little bit on Purdy, just a little bit. If he can put together a complete game, then I feel like they really have a chance in 2 weeks. I'm gonna go to Courtney first. Courtney, what did you see from Brock Purdy last night?
I mean, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't get to see the Cam Newton tweets or videos, reactions. That was a little disappointing. But yeah, I mean, he looked good. I said it last week. I said, Kyle Shanahan can out X and O Dan Campbell, and he did. Good for him. Brock Purdy had a great game. I can't wait for the Super Bowl and to see what he looks like under those lights. That's We're keeping it positive here.
Dante, what you see from Mr. Purdy? Do you think we got to give him a little more credit?
Yeah, a little bit more. We do. I mean, I still agree that it's, the scheme and, the weapons within the scheme. And at the same time, that's not Brock Purdy's fault. A lot of times quarterbacks would beg to be in a situation like Brock Purdy. And we've also seen quarterbacks in Brock Purdy's situation and not make the most of it. So, you really got to tip your cap to him. And like I said, he's really, like you said, put these drives together the last few games, especially this game coming out at the half down 17, leading your team back because they put points on the board. They had a few really good drives, and so again, like you said, now with the lights, when the lights are the brightest, how do you do it? I think from Kyle Shanahan's standpoint, I do think it's kind of dope that you blew the biggest lead in Super Bowl history, and then you had the biggest comeback in NFC Championship history.
Yep.
So maybe that's a little reverse juju for him there, going up against the greatest of all time in young Patrick Mahomes. But as far as Brock, you got to give him his flowers, and I'll leave it at that. It's nothing more. I think again with quarterback, we get into overanalyzing these days, and we talk about every single throw. Every time. I know all of us said it when he threw the pick. Oh, this Brock Purdy's ass.
Oh, I called him ass multiple times during that game.
Yeah,
yesterday.
He came back and he had a really good game. And so, shout out to Brock Purdy.
Bang, tell us what you saw from Mr. Purdy last night.
Shocked the shit out of me. I am not gonna lie to you, mainly because the pressure, man. Last year he had the issue with his UCL, and we didn't get to see that, but he's been ass these last couple of games. So to see him take that team and bring them back, he's still a game manager, but like I said on this pod before, game managers is now being used as a derogatory word. He managed that game very well to get them out of that hump that they were in, 17-point hump. So I think that the sky is the limit for Brock Purdy. And man, just shocked me, man. Shouts out to him. Can't call him a game manager in a derogatory way no more. And I'm excited about that.
Definitely, man. One last topic before we get to our NBA coverage. Pavy will be joining us in just a minute for a weekend in the association. But let's, talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Not too much, because we will have plenty of time to talk about the Super Bowl over the next 2 weeks. Next week, we're going to have a full Super Bowl week on the show. I'm going to have a couple guests, so that should be fun. But we got a Super Bowl 54 rematch between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, a.k.a. the Super Bowl before the world ended. I think about where we were in life. You know what's crazy about 2020? Now that we think about it, the month of January till like the first 2 months of the year, it kind of felt like the beginning of Infinity War. We didn't know what the fuck was finna hit us. Like niggas was just chilling. Niggas ain't know you finna have a 10-foot purple nigga fly from the sky and have you niggas disappear for 5 years. It was the same thing with like COVID. And like I remember being in like at the Super Bowl party. It was a week after Kobe Bryant died, and it was such a good game. I feel like people didn't talk about because of everything else that was going on. You know what I'm saying? You had All-Star Weekend in Chicago, which was fun, and then boom, 3 weeks later, we in the house for the next year. So I feel like I had to go back and actually relook at that game and watch a couple highlights from last night, watch a little bit of the game, and realize how good of a game that was. Now, this is a little different situation. The Chiefs are not what they used to be in there. They're not as an offensively sound team as they were, 5 years ago. But this is something where they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. This is something where they don't have that offense wasn't explosive as it was. And I do think the Niners defense still can be as good as they were 4 years ago. They haven't been showing it lately, the last couple of weeks of the season. But I do think they've got revenge on their mind. Kyle Shanahan has revenge on his mind. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, all the guys who were on that team want to get it back in blood. And the question is, remember, as good, and people forget that the Chiefs were down 10 points. They had to come back. And if Jimmy Garoppolo hits on that, who's he threw it to? A man who played Emmanuel Sanders. If he hits that ball to Emmanuel Sanders, they're the Super Bowl champions. And Brock Purdy probably doesn't ever happen. we look at Jimmy G a lot differently. Can Brock Purdy make that throw that Jimmy G couldn't make? So I feel like on paper, we'll have a couple more times, get into the matchups and things like that. But I do feel like this is something where the Chiefs can't go over there and think that this is going to be the same team they played a couple years ago, because they're going to want to get it back. Courtney, we're going to go to you because, we know you're going to get up out of here after this. What is just your initial reaction to the Super Bowl matchup we got?
Oh, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great matchup. I'm really disappointed that we're missing out on the blacketiest black Super Bowl matchup of all time, but I think this is going to be a really good game. And like you said, Chiefs can't walk in there like this is that team from 2020. No, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great game. Can't wait to see what Taylor Swift's going to wear.
Bang! Tell us what's your initial thoughts about this game.
My initial thoughts is that, first of all, don't bet against Pat Mahomes because he'll make you look like a fool. But is this time for the San Francisco 49ers to go ahead and reclaim, what they used to have coming up in the 80s? I think we got two great coaches that's going up against each other. So seeing the chess match between them is going to be good. And outside of that, man, I'm just happy that we're not talking about the Detroit Lions
and that storyline.
So that's at the end of the day, that's what matters to me. So I'm happy to see that.
Dante, quick opinion on this, then we're going to bring Pavy in just a minute. Go ahead, tell us what you feel about this matchup.
I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think it's going to be a really good game. I know a lot of people have been shitting on the NFC, but the San Francisco 49ers are a really entertaining team, and it's going to be a really, really, a chess match. Two different styles, like I said, a defense that doesn't give up big plays versus an offense that likes to get as many big plays and get their people out in space and make things happen that way. So I think with Pat, like you said, how do you bet against Pat at this point? It just don't seem wise. So I think the Chiefs should be the favorites, but I think it's gonna be a great game.
Definitely, man. We're gonna bring Pavy in as we have Courtney out of here. Before we put that up, before we just want to give Courtney her salute out. Courtney, you will be out for the next two shows, so we will see you in 11 days. Let people know where to get in tune with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me on Instagram at 1-800-CALLABRO. Also on the Bird app. Also, I'm going to New Orleans for the first time as an adult. So if you have any recommendations for me, please slide in my DMs, but only for New Orleans recommendations. That is all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dante, that was on me. That was a fine on me. I fucked that train. That was my fault. But Courtney, we will holler at you in about 11 days.
All right, sounds good. I do like that picture of you though, Pavy. You're looking real good.
Don't raise this nigga's ego any higher than it is now.
I'm trying to welcome my colleague into the fold, guys.
Thank you, Courtney.
Absolutely, you're looking especially light skinned, very Chico DeBarge.
Listen, I hope you have a great time in New Orleans. I hope it's everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Cheers, guys.
Good. And now we've got Pavy in here. We've got our NBA correspondent here for the season, man, as we've got this great graphic up that I fucked up the first time. But here we go. Weekend in the association here with Pavito, man. Pav, how you feeling, bro?
I'm good. Good weekend. Football was great. Enjoyed myself this weekend. So yeah, ready to talk a little hoops and yeah.
Let's just get right into it, man. This weekend we had a lot of scoring going on in the NBA, man. Just off last week, we talked about on Friday about Joel Embiid putting up 70 points, and then we had Luka. Was it Luka or was it Devin Booker? I think it was 60. No, it was both of them. Not even before the weekend. No, it was Cat. Cat had 60. Cat had 63 or something like that on Friday, and then this weekend we have Book went for 62 and motherfucking Luka Doncic, the second highest. Yeah, I said second highest because I'm not going off that 100 points by fucking Wilt Chamberlain. I'm gonna keep saying it. We got videos of Dr. King getting hit by rocks in Marquette Park, but we ain't got no video of 100. But I'm not gonna go down there again. This is the second highest scoring barrage in history with Luka Doncic. My question to you, Pav, is this a good thing for the NBA with all this high scoring? Because it kind of felt like people liked it, but it was kind of like, where's the defense at? What do you feel about that?
I mean, I think when it happens in the flow of the game is good. The Luka versus the Hawks thing was just like it looked. I don't say that they let him score 70 because obviously anytime somebody even like I think he was 25 for 33, which is insane. So obviously like he played out of his mind. But it was like, bro, double the man. Like they didn't think to double him until he got to like 65, and I guess they were scared that he was going to embarrass him to score 81. But it's like, bro, like there has to be. And Quinn Snyder, who all intents and purposes, from what I know about him in Utah, to be a defensive coach. Like you can't come up with no scheme to somewhat slow this man down. So I think that when it happens in like the flow of the game is good. I mean, obviously, like when somebody is, break it out and doing all that, like it's dope. Like when somebody is like, when one of the famous performances that come to mind for me is when Braun against the Bucks, when he scored, I think it was 50 something. Remember when he had all those threes?
Yeah.
When like somebody is literally going crazy and you can't stop it, is great. But some of this is just like, did you even think about guarding the man? Like literally, like they didn't double him. Like for me, I'm thinking like, yo, once a man got 41.5 on me, we gonna make it very hard for you to score. I'm just sending doubles at you, bro. Like if Tim Hardaway Jr. and Grant Williams want to light up and get 30, be my guest. But you just not gonna sit up here and just embarrass me like that. So I think that when it's in the flow of the game is good. But yes, I do think that defense is something that is lacking, and it just takes. I don't want to say it takes away from those games, but it kind of takes a little bit out of it when, like, it just seems like defensively there could be more being done that isn't being done.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it's, of course, we know, and Dante, you said this many times, Twitter is not the place for nuanced conversations. But when we say we want defense, I'm not saying I want 83-78 back. I'm not saying that. But, even though the Warriors Lakers score, a lot of it had to do because niggas was tired more than actual defense. But I can live with 140 points in 3 overtime.
Like also, like people act like even in the 80s there weren't high scoring games. There were very high scoring games in the 80s. Like the 80s is one of the most highest scoring decades in NBA history. Ever. Yeah. Like you saw like the Denver Nuggets of the 80s who were running up and scoring 100. Even the Pistons, pre-Bad Boy Pistons that people don't remember, the pre-Bad Boy Pistons when they had Isaiah and they had Kelly. I think his name is Kelly. With like the pre-Bad Boy Pistons.
Yeah.
Like, regardless, they were scoring mad points. So it's not like people haven't scored points before. But this is like, bro, it's so many games I watched. It's 80 points at halftime.
Yeah.
Like at halftime, we have 80 to 60 scores, and then we'll get into some other stuff later. But it's just like people just shooting threes, and if you make a bunch of threes, you win. If you miss a bunch of threes, you lose. It's just like that isn't to me, that isn't the best form of basketball that we can possibly put forward.
Dante, what do you think about this scoring barrage going on in the NBA right now?
Yeah, bro. I said it a couple weeks ago. Like, once we went, I think it was last week. Once we went to positionless basketball and everybody's trying to do the same shit, it took a lot of the fun out of it because it's kind of like boxing where styles make fights. Where like you would have a West Coast team that was running gun coming to the East Coast, a team that was heavy on defense, and they were going to try to stop you from doing what you do best. Well, nowadays it's like, all right, shit, roll the ball out there and let's see who get to 130 first. Like it. It's not as entertaining just from a sheer entertainment standpoint. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still some good basketball being played, and I think they are, from an athletic standpoint, extremely gifted. But we talk about the lack of fundamentals and all of that, and overall, like, or from a defensive standpoint, especially, like, especially so much of defense is effort, and like you seen like that Luka game, bro. It was a few plays he came down court, and motherfuckers was just jogging, and it's like. Like, he has 50, bro. Like, what are y'all doing?
Like, what are you doing?
And like, so like, and for him to come into your court, home court, I know it ain't the playoffs, but they have some sense of pride. And, a lot of people, they just, they were just on cruise control. And I think you see a lot of that in today's NBA. Everybody want to shorten the season. It's just a bunch of bullshit. So, I mean, I don't think it's good for the NBA, but, I also don't know how you change it. Like, Bomani Jones made a statement. He was like, people talk about like widening the court and pulling it, making a 3-point line further back, but that ain't gonna change shit. Exactly. He's like that. We just doing exactly just way too much.
Now we just doing bullshit.
So what do you do? So like, how do you actually change it? But bro, I don't think it's really. I don't think it's good for the game. I don't know where we go from there, but we get to a point where, bro, you're gonna see 10 Wimbenyamas out there shooting threes and doing the same thing. Everybody doing the same shit, and that's just what basketball has been in the last few years.
It's not out the realm possibility of somebody breaking Kobe's 81.
Somebody's gonna break it within
Yeah,
the
they're gonna break it.
next 2 years.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get here. Somebody's gonna break it.
As our resident old head, Bang, what do you feel about this?
Hey, man, it is what it is, man. Ain't a lot of defense that's being played out there. People just letting folks rock. This is the 2K generation, man. This is the My Player generation. And what you do when you get on My Player, you get about 70 points, you get 25 assists, 50 rebounds, player MVP. That's we in right now. It's really nothing else to be said other than just the defensive aspect of it. We saw Beverly talk to his teammates about defense, and I'm like, yo, y'all don't teach this. So I think that is really the issue with the NBA right now, really just the lack of defense. But in the mortal words of Greg Maddux, and I think that was Tom Glavine, when they said chicks dig the long ball, chicks did 3-pointers.
Chicks,
that's where we at.
Niggas don't want defense. Kind of quick point on this too. Just want to get Pavy your thoughts on it. And we kind of went over this, Bang and Dante last week. So I just asked Pavy about this viewership in the NBA. So I looked up something this morning where we all talk about NFL. We're not even talking about NFL ratings. NFL is whatever. It's America's pastime. But there's been ratings in sports that have been going up and up. Even though baseball has its own, they had record highs for, World Series. And I feel like every league has been going up higher outside of the NBA. You have a game where, you have the but the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. And this is no disrespect to basketball. I just want to put this out there right now before I'm, making this comparison. But you had a game, I think it was South Carolina and LSU, that completely beat them in the ratings this past weekend. And that's something that also attributes to the growth of women's basketball that we're seeing. But we also don't usually see something where, you have an Eastern Conference Finals rematch be, basically bullied in the ratings. Do you think it's something, what do you think is the issue in why the NBA, as far as like live TV but ratings wise, isn't really connecting like how it used to?
For one, people ain't out there half the damn time. Like, even the games you want to get excited about, for instance, like Boston Celtics, Miami Heat. Did Jimmy play? I have no idea. I really don't know.
Jimmy did play. Jimmy did play on
but the fact I have to ask the question, like,
that's true.
Like, did he play? Even like versus Clippers, Celtics. Granted, Porzingis literally did sprain his ankle, but Porzingis wasn't out there. Then then the biggest one, when you want to see the two last MVPs playing against each other, Embiid, the whole Sixers team don't play. So half the time, people not playing for one. Like, so even the marquee matchups aren't as marquee as they would be because the marquee players ain't out there playing. Like, you ain't seeing these two teams at their best going at it. So that's one thing. Two, I think the NBA is just consumed differently than like a lot of other leagues. I think that, you can like people like the NBA is a lot of, I think, more based on highlights and like game recaps than a lot of other leagues. Like, I think for football, it's hard to just watch the highlights and think you watch the game. I think for the NBA, you can watch like a 10-minute game recap on YouTube and feel like you fully watched the game. So I think some of that is that, as far as just like the highlight generation, being able to log on YouTube and watch a 10-minute recap and not having to sit down and, watch the full game. And then also combined with the fact of people literally aren't playing. So the marquee matchups aren't as marquee as you think they would be. Like the LSU South Carolina game, everybody was out there. Like, Don Staley, Angel Reese, like I can't think of any of the other players on the team, but the point is, them. Like, they're all there playing to make this game the game that it should be. In the NBA, a lot of times people are missing. They're not playing. Now, granted, I'm not saying these people aren't hurt because it's 82 games, bro. So, like, I'm sure your body gets nicked and knacked, over the course of the year, but people aren't playing. And I think if people were playing, some of these games would have more viewership and people would sit down and watch them more.
That's a fair take too, and I know that Adam Silver is actually investigating what happened with the Embiid thing, because he wasn't even on the injury report. They just had him
He
15 minutes
did
before.
hurt his knee, but I see the thing about Embiid. If you remember when we were talking last week, I said if Embiid even plays, because he did hurt his knee in the Indiana game. Like he did come down, get beyond his knee. He played the rest of the game, but he did hurt his knee. So and Embiid is a guy who's had a very extensive injury history. So you don't want it to be like if he's feeling some type of pain, you don't want it to be where he goes out there and makes it worse just for the sake of playing. But yes, it was disappointing.
And real quick before I introduce Mikey, shout out my brother Damien said in the chat, no disrespect. Yeah, right, nigga. First of all, there was no disrespect there. I was being dead ass, man. But we've got our guy Mikey. He is off Barber's Chair IR. He is back here on the show. Mikey, how are you doing, my brother?
What's the word, my guys? How y'all feeling?
Doing great.
Solid,
Doing
bro.
great.
Good. Bro.
Shit, but like to jump into Pavy's point, I had no idea the Lakers and Warriors were playing Saturday night. And then just off strength, when I saw it, I'm on the East Coast, so I was tired. But when I saw it, I was thinking in my head, like, well, the Lakers did just play the Bulls like 48 hours ago. So I'm already not even going to flip to it because I'm thinking AD might be out, LeBron might be out. So it's very true, like the way that we consume it. So like today, I was in the office and I just fired up the 10-minute recap video on YouTube, and I was like, oh shit, I missed the banger.
Yeah, it was a good game. And not to cut you off, Dante, I was saying, even like I knew the game was on, but I watched a quarter and I was just like, I don't want to watch this shit. Like I'm tired of the LeBron Steph thing. And then like a couple hours later, I'm, oh shit, nigga, it's a 1-point game, like a minute left. And then of the triple overtimes, things like that. But go ahead, Dante.
I'm about to say, as a motherfucker who bought tickets, I spent about $300 when Joel Embiid didn't fucking come to the Hawks. And a nigga who is holding his breath because tomorrow the Lakers Hawks game is the second of a back-to-back. So if LeBron and AD sit, I'm
not playing, bro. When I'm not playing, bro. You shouldn't ball.
100%, because the underdog NBA tweet just hit the phone. Likely to play today. So yeah, they chilling tomorrow.
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah, 100%.
When they went to double overtime Saturday, I said I'm fucked. Like, it's not gonna happen. But no, I think like to Pavy's point, that's the biggest issue, bro. They're not playing. Like you got like Mike when Mike played for the Wizards, bro, played 82 games. Like, you know what I'm saying? You had people back in the day who would just flat out, they were playing nonstop. And I know we get into it and we talk about, these dudes who, grew up in the AAU culture playing 6 games on Saturday, get 6 games on Sunday. Like, their bodies are worn down, so they kind of have to do it sometimes. But I think that's a big part of the viewership because I'm not going to watch this shit if I tune in and I see LeBron in street clothes. You feel me? Like, that takes away from the appeal of the game. And I think that's something that the league really is struggling with, especially when, football has pretty much mastered how to package this 19-game product, you feel me, when you include the playoffs, 19, 20 games. And so they have a short window and they maximize it. Well, you got to try to get people's attention for 82 games. You feel me? That's a lot longer. Baseball has the same issue with 162 games. When you got that many games where you got to try to hold somebody's attention, but you got your stars not playing. You got matchups where you have 8 games on one night, 5 of them is fucking 30-point blowouts. Like, it's like, I'm not going to watch this shit. So, like, but I think overall, like that, the stars not being stars not playing. That's the issue, bro.
That don't let Sunday, Championship Sunday, take away from the fact that the Thunder got boned by the Pistons. With no Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. That and the fact of like how many times are the NBA gonna lean on LeBron versus KD, LeBron versus Steph? Like, bro, we just granted, obviously, never take it for granted because we don't know how many more times we're gonna get to see this. Like, all these guys are older, you never know what can happen. This may be like the last 8 to 10 times we may see this, but like, who are the new matchups that we supposed to be excited about? Also, the rivalries, like, who are the actual? Nobody hates each other. Like, there's not
like so forced, bro.
Yeah, like there's like Lakers and Warriors is the Bron Steph thing is real. But other than that, like nobody for real hates each other. So there's that. And then also, like, again, like I said, where are the new rivalries? Like the new player to player, like these guys going at it. You don't really have that in the NBA either at this point. Like, I feel like in the early 2000s, if it was like, T-Mac versus Kobe, you want to see that. or if it's, Iverson versus Kobe, you want to see that. Or if it's, I don't know, Shaq versus Yao or something, you want to see that. Or if it's, like all the power forwards, like C Webb going up against Dirk, or, Dirk going up against Sheed, or Dirk going up against KG. Like, you want to see those matchups. Like, I don't think that we have the same player-to-player rivalries that people are also excited about these days as we used to have as well.
Yeah, because David Stern was a master marketer, bro. Like he was like he made you want to watch the matchups. And I mean, everything ain't Adam Silver's fault. Like he didn't know Zion Williams was a fat freak and like Ja was a gun nut, because that was supposed to be the next big rivalry. Like they were supposed to go at it both in the Western Conference. Got a lot of matchups they would have had, but that just went left. And now we all have our preconceived how we feel about whether it's Booker or Tatum. So the guys that were supposed to be those next superstars, a lot of us look at them like, I guess you got it. So like it ain't all his fault, but yeah, bro, it's a whole different game now.
We need Ant and SGA to get spicy and turn it up. Like
I need that to be on the court. This can't be a fashion either.
It seems like it's forced, but even that, it seemed like people are forcing it.
Facts, yeah. but to your point, we're looking for that rivalry. Like from a basketball nerd aspect, like one thing that I've loved to watch this year, I think the Indiana Pacers really have the Milwaukee Bucks number. Facts. Like they really do. Like they are just a complete total mismatch for the Bucks, and the casual or the Twitter follower be like, it's just whatever. It's not gonna. The Pacers aren't gonna do nothing in April or May, so this doesn't matter. But to me, I like every time seeing it come up on TV, like, yo, that's a good matchup. I know the Pacers are gonna give them the run for their money. So there are hidden matchups in there, but not enough people are watching it because of, like you said, Pavy, people are too focused on the big names, and nobody might really be wanting to watch a Halliburton, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam versus a Giannis, and we're star crazed, and that's what really runs the league. That that's why every week we get Boston Celtics versus the fucking Knicks on TV.
Yeah, and also too, it has not to do presentation. Tonight is Bucks Nuggets. Why the fuck is that shit on NBA TV?
Because it's a boring matchup.
No, it's not. That's a
boring matchup.
That's a potential NBA Finals preview, bro.
But again, the casual fan isn't running to watch Jokic. I don't think the casual fan even running to watch Giannis.
And that's a problem, bro.
Like it's just a boring matchup.
The first game is Suns versus Heat. I don't want to watch Jimmy Butler. I don't want to watch poster ball. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like realistically, like you could have put on NBA TV. Luckily, I got league pass, but Clippers Cavs, I will tune into that because I like the way the Clippers have been playing.
The best game tonight is Timberwolves Thunder.
Like,
that game, if any game should be on TV in prime time, it's that game.
Your two young stars, two top seeds in the Eastern, in the West.
But not enough people care about the Wolves or the Thunder, and that's what
make them care though, bro.
Like, you gotta make them
put them on TV and make them care. Like Ant is one of the best personalities that we have in the NBA. Yep. Shea is in a fucking Skims commercial. G, he's literally in a Skims commercial that runs all the time. Like, bro, you gotta make these people. You gotta make them care. You have to stop putting fucking. I love LeBron, so I put him on TV every week. They be getting smoked. Be watching the 20 and 21 team on TV every week.
We gotta stop having 30 games. Let's go into another popular team. The New York Knicks. The New York Knickerbockers are currently the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. They are 29-17. Just had a big win this past weekend over the Miami Heat, and of course they blew out the defending champion Denver Nuggets last week. There's been a lot of conversation about the Knicks, from Knicks fans. I think we all know Knicks fans because, we all have New York friends, and they are very animated people, to say the least. And that's just not Knicks fans. That's New York sports fans, people, very colorful people. And they've been very loud about the season, as they well should be. But I kind of want to know, like, what are they realistically looking for? You know what I'm saying? So, Pav, what do you think is like a successful season for the Knicks?
I think a successful season is number one. Well, I would probably say Eastern Conference Finals berth, but I honestly think the sky is the limit. Like, again, when I look at the Eastern Conference, I'm not that sold on literally any team. Like I don't think there's that much difference between the Celtics and the Knicks. I don't think there's that much difference between the Knicks and the Bucks, or especially with the addition of OG. They also have the Evan Fournier contract that they can probably flip for something. They have picks that they can flip for something. So this team is a team that still could go out there and make another move. If Mitchell Robinson was still available, I would be even more confident about their ability for this season. Obviously, Julius Randle just got hurt with his shoulder. Hopefully, I know they say he's probably going to miss weeks, not months, which I think is a big thing as well. Obviously,
good thing for him,
yeah, but still, like it's a big thing as far as like him getting back, his shoulder being right. Him to be able to shoot the ball and things like that. But I think the sky's the limit for this basketball team. Like they've been great with OG. Like I said, they still have moves that they can make, and I'm not that sold on anybody in the Eastern Conference. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I think the East is very wide open this year. Like, would I put my money on the Knicks making the finals? Hell no. But would I be like just completely all like stricken and jaw dropped that they made it? No, because look at the conference. Like, look at the team. So I think improvement this season is making it further than you made it last season, especially when you make the deals that you made this year. But I think realistically, the sky's the limit for this team because why not?
Shout out my man B in the chat. He said, "Why you say the full name like that, Scott? Because it's funny as shit. Knickerbockers is funny as hell. Like that. That's why I said it, Knickerbockers." But also shout out one of our guys in the chat, sharing on the board. My man Gator. Gator said, "People don't care about the game Bucks and Nuggets because Bucks ain't like that. The Nuggets gonna put them in the pack." See, that's what we're talking about. But Mikey, what do you think about the Knicks and like what do you think would be a successful season for them?
I was thinking before Pavy said the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, this has all the makings of, of a classic Tibbs team. Like this team is very obviously Brunson is not Pooh from that run, that Eastern Conference Finals run, but they play defense. They have shooting. OG really is Luol Deng, the 2020 version of Luol Deng for Tibbs. So I think an Eastern Conference Final run is well within their grasp. Like Pavy said, there is no LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals or in the Eastern Conference this year. They don't have to run through any juggernauts. I'm not sold on the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not sold on the Heat. The Sixers. Joel's just got to show up and do it during the playoffs. So I would say Eastern Conference Finals is a realistic opportunity for them. I think they need to go out and make another move. I think they do. I know they've been linked to Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not sure how much of an upgrade that is, but we know that he was big for the Celtics last year. So I did see something that Mitchell Robinson actually might come back at some point this season. They no longer fear that it is season ending, and he might be looking at somebody coming back, that last week of the regular season. So even if he can give them just some minutes, out there, you throwing a legitimate 7-footer out there, that's definitely going to impact rim protection for them. So I'm actually impressed for them. Shout out to our boy Mike, 96 Mike. I know he's living it up
Mike
right now on the Knicks high. Yeah, he's living it up on the Knicks high right now.
Yeah. Shout out my man Al Patron when we did the holiday special, and he told me on air that Jalen Brunson was a superstar. And because he's my man, and also because I was very drunk when we recorded that, I let him rock. But Dante, what you think about the Knicks? We on Friday when we had Pavy on here, you was like, "Man, I'm tired of Knicks fans." What do you think about the Knicks season?
Yeah, I mean, they entertaining. I think Julius Randle just hurting his shoulder. We gotta wait on the timetable for him coming back. I think long term, you need to make the conference finals. I mean, you made it a few years ago, so you need to get back to that level. So I mean, like we were just saying, doing better than what you've done not only last year, but it's in the past in general. And with this being the same core for the most part with Tibbs, you need to finally get over that hump and get to the NBA finals. I know, like you said, the East is wide open. And nobody has the Knicks penciled in as a favorite to take the East with Giannis and everybody else still there, even with Jimmy still there. But if you want to, make the most out of this, you got to try to do something to push this team to that. So I think a success would be at this point, a success would be winning the Eastern Conference for me. Like you got to win the Eastern Conference because you brought Jalen Brunson in to win the Eastern Conference and get to the finals. Like that was the whole point of bringing bro in. So I think that should be the goal.
That's a fair point. I think for me, I'm gonna agree with Mikey and Pat. Like, I think just getting to the Eastern Conference Finals is when as currently constructed. Now I don't know what kind of moves they make at the deadline. If anything, if they make a power move that changes, I would have really liked to see Siakam on the Knicks. To be honest, like that,
No, you
that would have
wouldn't.
moved me.
No, you
Now
wouldn't.
I'm not
No,
talking
you
about. I hate not. I'm talking about not as somebody. I don't like the Knicks, obviously. But I'm saying
No, you
I think
wouldn't.
that would have been a good fit.
No, it
Why you
wouldn't.
don't think that's a good fit?
What position he gonna play?
He play forward. Who
With
they
Randall?
starting?
So then what Randall
You
gonna
know
do?
how I feel about fucking Julius Randle, nigga.
So
I'd
you
have
gonna
sent that
bench?
nigga first flight.
So you think
to
Siakam is
fucking-
better than Randall?
Yes, I do. I think Siakam's better player than Julius
that.
Randle.
I don't. I can't
I think Siakam's better player than Julius Randle.
I can't.
Look,
I can't.
Knicks fans are
Not
gonna
good
be
enough to
calling-
bench him, dog.
I
Not good
can't-
enough to bench him.
No.
I think Siakam is a better. I trust
I
Siakam.
can't co-sign that, but I ain't mad at you for what you do. I can't co-sign that, but I ain't mad at you for what you do. I can't say all that. No, I can't do all that.
Julius Randle is good in spurts, man. But we know when the playoffs come, he gonna do some Julius Randle shit, and that was one of the main reasons that they lost to the Heat in the Eastern Conference semifinals last year.
Without Kawhi Leonard and all that.
Yes, but I trust Siakam more than I trust Julius Randle. Is
All right.
what I'm saying in this particular situation. But I feel like as currently constructed, they have to at least make the Eastern Conference Finals for it to be a success. Now they're at that point that a lot of teams get into where it's like there's only so much Jalen Brunson can do, where he's gonna need an equal running mate who can take it up to the next level, and that's just something that Julius Randle can't do. Let's go back to the Western Conference. We just talked about, T-Wolves and OKC facing off tonight. Pav, you wanted me to put this on the rundown, man. What's on your mind about the Timberwolves?
I have watched the Timberwolves the past week, and they have had some very foolish losses. The Spurs loss was just absolutely inexcusable. Like, what are you doing? I don't give a fuck how many sham gods Wemby is doing. You should not be losing to the San Antonio Spurs. Like, especially when you were up in the game, you shouldn't be losing to the Spurs. Then the Brooklyn Nets victory. Like, the past week, they've had some very questionable victories. Questionable victories and foolish losses. You lost to the Hornets because you were trying to get Cat a fucking record, and you fucked around and lost the game to the Charlotte Hornets. Like, my thing with the Timberwolves is, I've said all year, I think the Timberwolves have one of the best first sixes in basketball with Nas Reed and Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels and Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. They do have the best front line in basketball. Rudy Gobert is probably going to be defensive player of the year. You have Anthony Edwards, who's going to be all NBA. He's going to be an all-star. They should have 2 all-stars. But my thing with them is just intelligence. Like, they're just a fucking stupid basketball team. And they've been a stupid basketball team for a couple of years. Number one, even going a couple of years back, they should have beat the Grizzlies. They lost 2 20-point leads in one game.
One of the worst playoff series.
That's one of the worst of all time. The coaching is the thing that I worry about because they still stupid. So at some point in time, I got to question Chris Finch because they still stupid. Also, Anthony Edwards. I love Anthony Edwards. But Anthony Edwards plays basketball. Like, he thinks every shot he shoots has to be on his career montage. Have you seen, like, bro, that was like one play against the Spurs. This nigga did a tween spin step back off the glass and missed. I'm like, that was a beautiful move. That was insane. I love watching Anthony Edwards play. But it's like, I swear to God, there was an easier way to get to this move. There was another play in which he get the ball in the corner and Wemby pops out. And Anthony Edwards, being the prideful guy he is, in his mind decides, I'm going to try to take Wemby off the dribble and turns the ball over. So, like, this, the intelligence level of this whole basketball team, even the Brooklyn Nets game, Anthony Edwards gets, I'm the superstar. This is my team. When Cat clearly got it rolling, like he has it rolling, don't give him the ball. About like 0 for 8 in the second half, still shooting the ball. Also, that's another thing. Granted, I know Cat has his issues in the playoffs, but they cannot forget Karl Anthony Towns is an elite offensive weapon. Like, that's real 24 points on, for the most part, 50, 40, 90 shooting. They have to find a way to get the best out of Ant, but also get the best out of Cat. So my thing with them is just the maturity level and just the intelligence, bro. Like, if they even have half of a mind, they should be in the Western Conference Finals. But I'm just not convinced in them. Like, I think, let's say the Lakers get the AFC, I think the Lakers could beat the Timberwolves just off of smarts. Literally just off intelligence. Just that they not going to do the stupid shit LeBron is not going to allow the Lakers to do the stupid shit that the Timberwolves going to do. So my thing with them is just like they've had some very questionable losses over the past week, and a lot of it is just maturity and intelligence level. And yeah,
I think that comes with being a young team. Like they're going through.
They're not a young team.
That's
the thing. They're not a young team. Like Mike Conley
what's the average
40.
age for
Mike
them?
Conley is 40.
Okay.
Fucking J.D. McDaniels on his second deal, and he's still young. Rudy Gobert old as hell. Cap been in the league about a decade by now. Like this team, this team is not a young team, and the Timberwolves are at risk of like you accelerated your timeline. You ain't got much longer with this basketball team. Like how many more elite years of Rudy defense you think you finna get? Mike Conley already 35, 36. You're gonna have to reset this team in about a year or two. 2 years,
do we
maybe.
Put some of that blame on some of the vets for not having these young guys really prepared? Well, not young guys, really having Ant still doing young player type shit though.
Yes, I think it's on all of them, and I also think it's on coaching. I think if they had a better coach, they would be better. I just think the coaching for the past couple of years has been a thing that has been, granted, obviously they number 2 seed, so they're doing something correctly. But I just think the coaching in Minnesota could be better.
Anybody else got to take on this before we move on to the next topic? Or no? Let's go on then. So we're about 15 minutes. We're going to have, I'm not going to hold you overtime, as you see on the bottom screen. Subscribe to the patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. Me, Dante, Bang, and Mikey will be going over everything in our local hour, man. And in the local hour, we will be having full Bears talk, as we'll be talking about Coach Matt Eberflus cements his coaching staff. We're going to talk about is if you take emotion away from it, is Caleb Williams the best pick? And what exactly is the state of the NFC North? So we'll be doing all that on overtime. But let's go to our next topic on here. I kind of want to combine these two topics here because it's happened from the same game. The Boston Celtics met up with the Los Angeles Clippers on Saturday. A big matchup that I didn't even really know was happening. It was not on any of the triple headers on any of the national TV. That's the game that I feel like should have been the nightcap instead of Warriors Lakers on paper. And of course, obviously, it panned out well for the NBA. But you got the Celtics who are coming into the season. They are the number 1 team in basketball right now. They are 35-11, and they're pretty much on cruise control, man. But they went home, they got home, and they got absolutely shellacked by the Los Angeles Clippers, man. And I'm not a big Jason Tatum fan. We talk about cool moves. He king cool moves, bro. Like he fools a lot of people. I can't get over the 100 turnovers he had 2 postseasons ago. But this is something to me where I'm not sold. I don't see anything different from this team than I saw in years past. And I don't even know 100% what that thing is that's going to get them over the hump. But, Pav, what have you seen from the Celtics? And do you think, like, is there any change? Is there any way that they could actually win a championship this year? You on mute, dog.
Great. The thing about the Clippers game that people did gloss over was the fact that Porzingis didn't play. Porzingis is very huge for them because he gives them somebody who can do like the other stuff. Like he's a guy, if you need like a post bucket or something like that, you go into Porzingis. That's still a guy who's 7'3", so he obviously is a rim protector. Especially when you put him with that defensive group, he can shine even more. All that being said, you still should lose by 30 at home to the Clippers. Not like that, bro. But the issue with the Celtics is they still have this thing where it's like, if we make a bunch of threes, we win. If we miss them shits, we lose. And it's been the same way since they went to the finals. Where if they make threes, they win. If they miss them, they lose. So that's just the thing with them. They have to find a way to still get those in-between buckets. And like I said, Porzingis didn't play in that game, and he does add a whole lot to their offense. But they just have to find a way to get easier buckets. Like Tatum, there's no reason he shouldn't be shooting 50% from the field. But because he want to shoot because he worked out with Kobe, and Kobe told him whatever he told him, and now he think he a guard, so he want to shoot fucking step back threes all day. I just think that the Celtics just make offense harder than what it has to be. Obviously, they are an incredible defensive team, and the defense for the most part will keep them in most games and will allow them to win most games. But offensively, they just don't really get too many easy buckets. And I mean, that they still may be able to get by with that. Like they may have a series where they make more threes than they miss, and their defense can, hold them down and win some games for them. But like I said, they just don't get very many easy buckets, and it's been the same way since they went to the finals. They just don't get easy buckets.
Yeah, and you're right. They don't get easy buckets, and it's also something when we look at evaluating them. We talk about, this is not a young team. This team ain't young either. Like they've had a lot of playoff battles in their time. They've been together for a long time, and I'm not comparing them to the Dallas Cowboys because the Dallas Cowboys didn't make it to the Super Bowl, and this team didn't make it to the finals a couple years ago. But it's also like if you don't do this now, when are you gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? You just paid Jaylen Brown. You're going to have to pay Tatum soon. That's going to be a ridiculous contract because Tatum's definitely going to want more and deserve more than Jaylen Brown. So they kind of got to get done. But the problem here is, for me, I don't know how they do it because, like you said, their style of play isn't going to change. They're not just going to get easy buckets out of nowhere. That's their philosophy. That's how they always been. Now, I could see them coming out the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is very much a toss-up. But when it comes to if they do get out the East, now they got to go up against the big dogs like Denver Nuggets or shit, even the fucking Clippers. It's going to be a problem. And there's also things that Joe Mazzulla does that, Ime Udoka did way better. First of all, Joe Mazzulla does not believe in timeouts. Joe Mazzulla, I feel like, doesn't really rally the troops together like he should. I'm not saying the team doesn't respect him or listen to him or anything of that nature, but when you have we have this talented of a team, there needs to be somebody who takes it to the next level, and that's just something I don't think he does. I like the Drew Holiday trading. I think it's going to pay off dividends in the playoffs. But even if you say with Kristaps Porzingis, we've been saying about Kristaps Porzingis for years, can he stay healthy? So you're going to be relying on his health as well. So I just don't really know. To me, we got to treat it as in until they actually get it done in the playoffs. There's really nothing else to be said about it. So
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the team that they face, and that is Los Angeles Clippers, the thing that me and Pavy covered. Man, Pav, I feel like I don't want to, go fully into the Clipper waters. I'm scared to jump fully into the Clipper pool, pause. But if there's any time I believe in the history of the Los Angeles Clippers that they could win the NBA championship, I feel it's this year. They're beating teams that they're supposed to beat. They're beating contenders, and they're just flowing. They look like they're having a good time, and T. Lue is putting up a great, coaching, job. And this is also without Zubac. Do you actually feel? Not only do you feel they can win a championship, I think we can. We know they can. But how much are you willing to bet that they actually will win the NBA championship this year?
I'm fully in. I'm good. I'm fully in. I'm in. I think this road trip will tell me a lot. Obviously, they have a 7-game road trip. I think they have they have the Grammy trip.
Yeah, the Grammy trip. Yeah.
So I think they have 7 games on the road. I think they come back until like February 6th. So they'll be like gone for about 2 weeks. But even beating the Celtics the way they beat them on a second half of a back-to-back, which was the thing. Like they played the Raptors the night before it came in Boston. PG wasn't going to play, and he insisted on playing. Which I think is huge for them because I think for the past, Ty Lue said in the beginning of the season, we're going to take the regular season serious this year. And for the most part, they've been taking the regular season seriously. Like Kawhi's been out there every night. PG has been out there every night. Russ going to be out there every night. Harden been out there every night. Like they really only miss games that they literally are hurt and can't at all play, which I think is huge. I think some of the other couple of years, like they just didn't get the on-court work in. And you can't just think that you have the ego to think you're just going to show up in the playoffs and everything going to work out. Like, no, you have to go through adversity during the season and work through it and work through those games so that you can draw back on those moments when you get to the playoffs. But I'm fully in. I think they quite possibly had the best roster in the league. Kawhi is playing. He's not going to win MVP. He's not even gonna like get votes, but I do think he's playing at an MVP level. I think James Harden has been everything. Like literally everything the Clippers have needed for the past couple of years. They needed a point guard. And my thing, like I said, with them needing a point guard is, the only issue with that is, what point guard are they going to bring in that has the cachet to look at Kawhi and PG and say, I should have the ball over you? Well, James Harden is that guy. Yeah. James Harden can look anybody in the face and say, nah, not this time. I got you next time. Or nah, you get over there, because that's James fucking Harden. And again, all these, I think that for all these guys, number one, all these guys are LA guys. So I'm saying that to say they all knew each other for a very, very long time. Like you hear stories about, I think PG talking about the first time he played against Harden in high school, or the first time, they saw Kawhi in high school, and they all around the same age. So they all know each other. They're all from LA. They do have that bond. Ty Lue's a great coach. And yeah, I'm fully all the way in. I think the only team in the West that I would even be concerned about is the Nuggets. And that's
Yeah.
just because, the lineup that they have, and also Jokic being like the ultimate mismatch. But everybody else in the entire league, yeah, I'm fully in on the Clippers being able to win the championship. And I just think that everything is lining up for them, bro. Like, this just seems to be like their year. It's a storybook ending. Last year in Staples, you go out with a championship and you open your arena up with the ring ceremony. I just think that's just like storybook.
Perfect.
Your perfect storybook. So yes, I'm all in, man. And again, them like I said, this road trip will show me a lot, but them beating the Celtics the way they beat the Celtics off of back-to-back showed me a whole lot. Even though Porzingis wasn't there, still showed me a whole lot.
And that's the game they lost in the past too. That's why I really like what we saw from them.
PG wouldn't have played. PG wouldn't have played. Kawhi wouldn't have played. They wouldn't have played. They wouldn't have played. The fact that they even showed up, played the way they played, yeah.
Yeah, and then also you talk about the Nuggets. I know it's 40-something games left, but you also got to pay attention to the standings, because if the playoffs start today, they be playing the Nuggets in the first round. That's not a first round opponent you want to face right out the way. But last topic, and then we're going to get you up out of here, and we're going to wrap this episode of I'm Not Going to Hold You Up. The Golden State Warriors, man, the Warriors had a tough loss this past Saturday to the Lakers. Steph had a phenomenal game, over 46 points, did his thing, man. But the Warriors are currently the 12th seed in the NBA, in the West Conference. They're 19-24, and they are like shit. They're like 3 or 4 games just out the fucking play-in, man. My question to you, Pav, is, we talking about the blame game and who should get the blame. Is there anybody in particular that should get the blame for the way that the Warriors season is going, or is this just a matter of the windows just coming to an end?
I think everybody should get the blame. I could run down the list. One, I think Draymond Draymond and his issues, whatever he dealing with, like, bro, you too important to this basketball team to be doing the shit that you be doing. And it's literally completely inexcusable for the things that you're doing. Even in the Lakers game, granted, I don't think he meant to do it, but you could see progressively as time went on, I'm like, yo, if this game lasts 5 more minutes, he might punch somebody. Yeah. Like, even the foul he took 80, we slapped him on the fight. Brother, what are you doing? Like, you just playing like a husky kid, bro. You playing like way too rough. Like, calm down, brother. Calm down. I think Clay came into the season the wrong way. Clay came into the season like, I'm still that guy. It's like, yo, calm down. Clay has been taking some of the, like, sometimes when Clay plays now, you can see he thinks, I haven't taken a shot in 8 minutes, so I have the ball. I must shoot this shot, no matter how fucking terrible this shot is. And you not making them like you once used to, because you're not as quick as you once used to. So the space that you can garner isn't the space that you once able to garner. You already can't dribble like that. Ain't like you got shakes, so you can't create the same level of space, and you just shooting whatever. Steph, I love Steph, but even like Steph, like the space that Steph can create, there's a very clear difference in Steph's speed now as opposed to like in 2015. So I think that, like, even Steph being on ball all the time isn't the best thing for him. I think the reason why even in the Lakers game, why he was getting, by AD so good was because AD was literally on one leg. Like, there were points in time in the game in which AD was literally dragging his leg up the court. So I think just everybody gets some blame. Also, the organization, like, I think they didn't do the best with their window. I think they probably, hindsight is always 20/20, but they probably should have traded those picks and try to get help immediately. You picked James Wiseman. That was obviously a dud. You picked Moody. You picked Kuminga. I also think you have a team who is like just in between 2 timelines. And the 2 timelines thing just hasn't really worked. Like, the young guys haven't got the chance to develop the way that they need to develop because you're still trying to win. And obviously, they won in 2021. So, like, they did win a championship, obviously, whatever. But the young guys haven't got a chance to be able to develop because you're still trying to win. And development causes mistakes, and mistakes cause losses. Like, even you saw in the Lakers game, they put Kuminga. What did they have? Kuminga on LeBron, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was
LeBron.
Yeah.
But like, he needs those moments. It wasn't a mistake.
He needs those moments.
Kuminga has been stepping up. He's averaged, I think he scored 20 points over the past 5 games. It's just like you're in between 2 teams. Like, Kuminga in 4 years or 2 or 3 years will be the player that you need him to be. But Steph will be 38. Clay is going to be 34. Like, it's just the 2 timeline thing isn't working. And I don't think that these guys all came in this season with the right mindset. Like I said, I don't think Drake came in with the right mindset. I definitely don't think Clay came in with the right mindset. And again, they've dealt with some serious adversity this season. I mean, obviously, RIP, the coach that died. That's a crazy thing to witness and see.
Yeah.
And also the 2 losses that they had after that, I think were really like heartbreaking losses. Like you could see that. I feel like they were playing for something. Like they had something bigger to play for besides just them. And to lose the last 2 games when they lost the last 2 games, I think really, really sucks. But I won't say it's over for them. Obviously, you have like 40-something games left. They're still a veteran team. They still have, all NBA level player and stuff. Drake can come back in and play the way he played last night. Every night they can play that style of basketball and the way they played in that game every night. They can still very well make the play in. And if they make the play in and they can get in a playoff series again, when I look at the top 2 seeds in the West, I'm not convinced. Like I think they could beat the Thunder. I think they could maybe beat the T-Wolves. Just again off the fact of they're a veteran team and they've been there before. So if you're getting the playoff series, you still got to beat them, and that's a very unnecessary first round matchup that you wouldn't want. But as far as blame, it goes to the whole organization. Everybody has to take some part in the way the season is going so far.
Definitely, man. That is the first edition of Weekend in the Association with our homie Pavy, man. He will be our NBA correspondent and will be joining us through the remainder of the NFL season, man. You can follow him at Pavy World on all networks, all platforms. You can visit pavverbs.com, listen to his music, man. Pav, thank you for joining us, bro. We'll holler at you next Monday.
My man, see ya.
All right,
bro.
We're going to quickly, talk about this Vince McMahon situation real quick. Just real quick. We ain't got to spend too much time on it. But, Bang, you're the resident, wrestling guy here. What do you think about the situation?
All right, so first, just to give folks some context, Vince McMahon, who founded, or no, he didn't found the WWE. His father did, but bought the company from his father in 1982, and has been the chairman and CEO of this organization. Was sued for some disturbing allegations. A man was sued for sexual assault, or accused of sexual assault and sex trafficking. A former WWE staffer named Janelle Grant worked at the WWE, said that he did some heinous shit. The probably the worst was that he had a threesome with her and his physical therapist, and he shitted on her, and they still, yeah, it's a real filthy freak man shit. The crazy thing is McMahon has paid out settlements to multiple women as the WWE chairman and CEO. I think around over $20 million. But in this lawsuit, this is just particularly more disturbing than the rest. He pretty much put a potential job in her face and some promotions up in there for exchange for sex. She also alleges that McMahon trafficked her to other men inside and outside of the company, which includes John Laurinaitis, who some of you may have seen on WWE television a couple of years ago. He had a very popular feud with CM Punk, who's back in the WWE. Also, she did not name the name, but if you put 2 and 2 together, Vince McMahon possibly tried to traffic her to Brock Lesnar as well. One of the things that me and my man Cam from the Port talked about on First Black Champ, which we will be dropping tomorrow, is that it's a lot. It's a really nuanced conversation, because with wrestling is, look, we love wrestling. I think every last one of us in some way, shape, or form has watched wrestling. And we start to see some of the storylines, and you like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? It's like, wow. But then when you start digging into the history of wrestling is a nasty business, man.
Yeah, it's been nasty for a minute.
But it's a very nasty business. I mean, talking about it's going far as like the 70s and 80s, where if you went to another territory without checking in, somebody try to break your leg in a match.
Yeah.
Talking about, the Fabulous Moolah, who was accused of something similar and stuff too. So, you know, if you are a wrestling fan, you start to look at these things and like, yo, why am I a fan of this shit? But the Royal Rumble was dope the other night. And Vince McMahon is no longer with the company. This is his second resignation from the brand. He quit before they sold the TKO, sold to Endeavor, and Endeavor combined the WWE and UFC and made the TKO group. And it's definitely a lot more questions about who knew about this in the organization. I could damn near guarantee that Vince McMahon ain't alone in this. And what I mean by alone in this is that some people probably saw this situation, saw this stuff right here, and just decided not to say anything to keep their jobs. So it will be interesting over the next couple of months what we find out from this organization.
Definitely, man. That's gonna be something we're gonna be paying attention to, man. For the WWE better not hope this shit plays out in court and shit like that. That's just gonna get real crazy for that whole organization, man. So that's all we've got on this edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Once again, we are getting ready to do I'm Not Gonna Hold You Overtime, which is on Patreon, man. That is our local hour where we break down everything going on in Chicago sports. It will be me, it will be Mikey, it will be Dante, it will be Bang. As you see on the screen, man, this is the stuff that we're going to be going over this week. We're going to be talking about Flus cementing his status. We got a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new quarterbacks coach. We want to talk about, is Caleb Williams the best move for this franchise if you take all emotion away from the situation? Then we're going to look at the state of the NFC North. Now that all four teams are officially at home and are gearing up for 2024, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate Pavy for joining this week. He'll be back next Monday. We'll be back on Friday. Mikey will be joining mid-show per usual. Courtney will be out for the next 2 episodes. So as of right now, it'll be me, Bang, and Dante until Mikey joins later in the show. Might get Mariano on. We'll see what his availability is looking at, man, as we get closer to the Super Bowl, man. Y'all can follow me at Barberchair Scott on Twitter and Instagram, on TikTok, all things. You can follow me there. Follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net. Follow this great platform, and we're doing a show on HB Media at HB Media TV on Twitter. You can follow my super producer, co-host of this show, Dante at October Zone Tay on Twitter. You can follow Mikey at Junior_Solito and follow JR Bang at JR Bang on all stream platforms, man. I'm not gonna hold you over time. We'll be up like around 9:30 Eastern time. We about to get into it now. We holler at y'all on Friday.